of friendship.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Plat Chat Peak Episode 1. No, Plat Chat Overwatch Episode 272. I just called Connor because he didn't show up, and he's just eating, so he'll be joining in a second. I'll be hosting today because Johnny is on holiday again. Yeah, dude, I swear he was on holiday like 2 weeks ago, but he is on vacation for 10 days.
Wasn't he on holiday like 2 days ago? He just like he came back one day. He came back for one episode of OWCS, and he's like, I'm gonna go on holiday again.
He's earned his time off. He came back for the weekend, and yeah, now he's on a 10-day vacation.
So he was on
holiday
holiday
already.
On Friday, Johnny was on holiday. Saturday, Sunday, OWCS. Monday, holiday again. I think that's the schedule, right?
Dude, he's so European coded.
Yeah, he's
Bro's
just
like,
always
you're
on
emailing
holiday.
him, and you're just like, I'll be out of office until September.
I mean, I'd rather be European coded than American work-life coded. I'm gonna be real.
That's fair, dude. How's the peak run going, Admiral?
Yeah, how was it? He
I
just found the
started
god
with
spawn.
I started with 4 luggages, including ancient luggage, which means I have a bugle of friendship straight away.
Oh,
But
that's
Bugle
pretty
of
good.
friendship. We didn't.
I
find
don't know
that
what the
on
hell. I'm
Weekly.
gonna be honest. I don't know what bugle of friendship even is.
Well, it's ironic because I'm playing by myself with no friends. That's the ironic part.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Sorry, I was
Can you
making
even-
It's
dinner
funny that
and-
I get the bugle of friendship when I don't have friends. That's really funny.
Dude, what if we just play peak for Plat Chat today?
That's what we said. Like, hey, let's just play this. Or Solomon suggested that we all load into peak and do the episode while we're
We do the
using
episode
the
while
voice comms.
play.
Yeah, we do.
That's
the
actually a
in-game.
really funny idea. I like that idea.
We could
a
do
lot.
that.
Dude. We could go into it right now.
That would be very
I gotta
funny
be-
with 4 people. Is all I'm saying.
I can't believe
Audio
that
listeners
Johnny's
will love
finally
it when we
gone.
get into a cave. We go to a
And
cave
we
area
can-
and it's just so
Oh,
echoey.
it
and
just
the
sounds like
echoey.
the
cave
audio listeners will
audio.
love that.
It sounds like cave audio. Dude, Johnny's finally gone. We can have fun again. Am I right, guys? Like, we got rid of
Yes.
him. Like, we can have
Get
fun again on
on.
Plat Chat.
Let's
Like,
go.
this guy's gone. I know all the renders are going to be C-themed. They're like, oh, they're not talking. They're not immediately talking about, like, how SSG didn't make playoffs. And then Hunter, even though he's washed, he's my GOAT still. And then, everyone, oh, like,
they
the
saying
cope
that?
section.
Are
Yeah.
they saying that? I think it's the. I feel like I've seen the opposite. They're
No,
calling
I think
Hunter
Under's
out.
lovable. He's lovable. Even though
a
SSG
lovable
beef,
guy,
he's
yeah, sure.
lovable. Like,
You
it's
know what?
fine. If you're
I'll tell you
likable, you
what.
can get away with anything.
I want people to be consistent in their criticisms. And now that Uncoachables have gotten all their predictions wrong, I need all the 19-year-old terminally online people to go harass other people. It's say, oh, I can't believe
You
they
rated
said
Peps
they
that
would
low?
easily beat Nightmare. Oh my god, they were wrong. Oh, they got the prediction. Oh my god, my life is ruined. I spent all my time online. I spent my entire life on the internet. Oh, they're so wrong. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm 19 and terminally online.
Dude, he's
Please,
pissed.
please do that, guys.
He's really pissed.
I need
He's,
people to be consistent. Hey, I'm just saying, just be consistent.
Hey,
I
you know
respect
what?
that if
I
you're
made
consistent.
peace. I made peace with the guy that shit talked us, Avril. Okay, he called us not funny on Twitter, and I was like, that's
I don't
true.
want.
Just
I'm
fair.
not
And I told him
interested.
that's
I don't
true.
want.
I told him that's fair.
I don't
We're not
want
funny.
peace. I want problems always.
I told him
Plus two if you get the reference.
Bring up,
Plus
bring
two
up
if you get
the
the reference.
SpongeBob Patrick NBA GIF, and it's like with the text like another 9 trillion to Avril beefing with people on Twitter. Another 9 trillion. Like, let's bring it
Dude,
up.
You do be beefing a lot.
I tried to make peace with that person, by the way. I tried to make peace with them, and I gave him an olive branch. I was like, yeah, we're not funny. That's fair. You know what? You got a good point. Like,
You know what? I think you're funny. Thoughts?
funny
Next
looking.
question.
Funny looking, am I right?
Oh, nice one. Plus two.
But now we've reignited the beef, and because of these ancient feudal oaths I've taken, I have to defend Avril with my sword arm. Now that he's reignited the war, even though I don't want to join on his side, I'm gonna have to fight.
You're like my Batman's like this fuck ass going to war again. Now I have to come to arms soon. God damn it! This guy always go to war. God damn. This guy stopped going to war.
He can't stop himself. He can't stop himself, bro. The run's going pretty. It's a new mountain, right? Because they generated a new one. This is going pretty
Yeah,
well.
this looks
I nearly
good.
died.
Can you
Nearly
do this
died.
game solo?
I mean, I think
Yeah,
you can.
It's hard,
just
but you can.
Hard.
It's a challenge,
Yeah.
obviously.
Cool. It's a good game. If no one's played it, it's a good game. I do want to. Johnny's going to be pissed, so we're going to have
Johnny
to
will
move
be
on.
pissed.
Johnny will be
pissed.
very pissed right now if he knew. What
I think
we were
Admiral
doing,
can. Here,
so-
we can do it normally, and Admiral can be in peak till he dies. I think that's
yeah,
a
that's
fair
fine.
compromise.
Yeah, I think that's
a fair
completely fine.
compromise.
Solomon,
Just
would you
start
mind
the-
bringing up
just
the
go. Yep.
member question? I've been starting the episode, buddy. Member question of the day. We took it from 10 days ago because Johnny put out a post that he was on holiday. Johnny, okay. Before we answer this question, Johnny's post on the YouTube thing asking for members' questions, I saw the latest post and he was like, if the guys get around to it, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, bro, like, what? Are you throwing us under the bus like that, man, guy? Come on. So, yeah, here's the members' question of the day. While Johnny sips margaritas in the Bermuda Triangle.
Can you read it
Not
aloud?
sure where he
You gotta
is.
read aloud to the audio.
I will.
listeners.
Don't worry. What NA/EMEA player would be the most viable import for a Korean team who intends to actually play them, i.e., not signed as a mascot? That's by cryptographer_JP. So thank you for the question. I thought this is a really interesting question because I have one person specifically in mind for this that plays in EMEA. That's Shockwave because he speaks really good Korean. So
Does he?
yeah. So I was thinking he would be kind of an easy shoe-in, no pun intended, a shoe-in for a Korean team. Although historically, even with mixed language teams, like coming in another language, it's not that bad in Overwatch because it's like there are very few like straight up in-depth things that you need to discuss like you're in a Valorant game, you know what I mean? It's pretty like kill monkey, do this, it's like pretty simple stuff, and a lot of the Koreans not in English, but like Overwatch speak. So yeah, my player would be Shockwave. Yeah,
Shockwave's a good one. Shockwave's a good one. I'm looking through to think about.
I'll give you one.
I'm gonna tell you
what you think.
Okay, here's my initial one.
Okay,
Kevster's a good one because he doesn't talk anyways. Kevster's a good one. And then I do think that like another good one on top of that, because they've done mixed rosters before, and also it's a role where you can get away with not like you don't have to have perfect comms. In EMEA, I would go Funny Astro or Kellex. Either one of them, because Kellex has also
like
been
the main support.
Yeah, Kellex has also been on like a lot of mixed like Korean rosters, like especially Boston Season 1. And then for NA, it's a lot harder because I don't think there's really a lot of players that like I would feel is comfortable with doing, because like the most obvious is like, okay, I go to main support again, right? It's like, okay, maybe Admiral, maybe, but I don't. The thing about it, so like that's a pretty obvious one. I wouldn't put CJ. I don't want to do flex supports in general. And then Vega, I think the problem with Vega that I have with this theorem is that Vega dies too much to be on a mixed roster. Vega, like, he dies a little too much, and if he's on a mixed roster, the Koreans will be like, what the fuck? Like, you're not Liu Gon, you know? Like, you can't get away with this shit. And so, my votes are probably Funny Astro or
Sorry,
Kellex
Violet spent his whole career dying. It's not an issue.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's not Violet. So he doesn't have like the gravitas behind him. All he has is like the paper towel rolls in his webcam and like his Mog face, you know?
Yeah, he does have a
Mog
very
a bit.
impressive Mog face.
The reason why I say Kevster is because Korean coaches have actually expressed interest in working with him. They're like, this is the one Western guy that I would like to have on my team when asked a specific question. So
about the Kev not talking thing, I don't think he talks like a bunch, but he talks more than you think. I've spoken to like Astra about this, and he does comm more than you think. Because I would think, and I think a lot of people will have the impression that like my guy is just straight mute up there, like Charlie Chaplin, black and white, like cinema type shit. Like he's
to be
not
fair,
stupid.
that's like an old belief. So he could have also evolved as a player a bit since
he could have
like
evolved.
that belief was
That's
first
true.
held. Because I think when he first exploded onto the scene, especially with, like gladiators and stuff, he was like, I think it was like
he
a
wasn't
bad problem,
speaking
and then
much.
I think he evolved probably as a player because everyone typically changes a bit over time. Like there is some people can grow and change a little bit, not like a lot, you know. Like at the end of the day, like no one can really change.
Oh, okay,
but, you know,
we're all stuck in our ways.
But you know, I think he's probably leveled up a bit on that department. So I could see Kevster, especially if there's interest from Korean teams. But my bet is main support because it's worked in Overwatch League.
Yep.
There are players that have done it, and I would go that direction. Though I wouldn't pick a single main support from NA. Maybe
Yeah, I'd say Astro might be
maybe
kind of a
Admiral.
small one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Astro or Kelix, because like, I mean, Kelix literally just won in fucking Saudi E League, so.
Yeah, he did.
I-
Yeah.
I think their DPS
Or I
is
guess
good
he
enough.
didn't.
Like, I think Kivs is good enough. I think Zero is good enough.
Sorry,
Maybe
he
even
won.
Sugar Free. Like these like Western DPS that are genuinely hard to call talents. They're like good enough to compete with Koreans. They could probably be on a Korean team. I also don't think you need like a lot of comms on the DPS role compared to other roles.
Yeah, I think especially if you're like the Tracer player, it's like you're not common like a main support. You're not common like you're a tank player, you know, the caller. So, but yeah, I think Tracer players decent shout.
I'm always against Tracer players not being a commer, and the reason why, especially if you play now, it's not as big of a deal in Overwatch 2 to a degree, but if you have like hard dive, what the cat's like all these carriers, or I don't know what she's doing, but the if you're a hard commer or if you have like a hard dive meta, if your Tracer doesn't talk, it's really hard to have good dives at times.
Yeah, okay. I'd have the same argument about the Lucio though. Like Lucio main support players do calm a lot,
Well,
but they don't have to. Is the thing?
Okay.
I guess you're getting at.
Lucio players calm a lot because they're not good at the video game. I'm gonna say that as a former main support player, it's like comparatively most main supports, they have a very high mechanics level at the support roles they play, but it's kind of like a generational trauma built into you where like main support players and Lucio players are like, I have to calm because elsewise everyone's gonna figure out that I'm not as good as aiming as them. You know? Like everyone's like, I have to talk. And so I think it's kind of like because realistically, like Moth did it with Shock. Like, and Moth had really good Lucio mechanics. Like he was a very talented mechanic player. All you have to say is, I'm speeding. I'm amping.
Yep. Speed.
I'm booping. Like essentially, like if you're
yeah.
if you're the one white boy that the DEI hire of like a full Korean roster, and you are like playing Lucio, you can get away with like a very limited amount of comms to a degree, if necessary. I wouldn't say it's optimal, but comparatively, that's why I'd rather have that mix, because I think we've proven it can work. I don't think we've proven that like enough. Now, granted, I guess you can make the argument like we've had Korean players on like mixed rosters that have very limited English that kind of just like hard carry with mechanics, you know. So like on a pure mechanics level, since it's a shooter, you have more of a leeway. But I think at like the peak levels, like the which we're now here, peak mention. What at the peak levels, I think I'd rather have a Lucio player that doesn't need to calm as much versus a DPS player that doesn't need to calm as much.
Yeah, which I think is pretty fair. Yeah, I can definitely see it with like a dive meta. Dude, Peak is such a good game actually.
He's changed topics.
It is super good. It is super good. I do want to move on. There's an interesting tweet I want to bring up a little bit later. That my Moan tweeted out, but we'll get into like the EMEA/NA results from the weekend. NA was so interesting, dude, with the whole deferral of bans and stuff, and we'll get into that in a moment. But we'll start with EMEA. Me and AVRL covered NA this week. I don't know how much you watched, Connor. Didn't you? Wait, didn't you?
I watched it all.
EMEA?
I watched it all.
Yeah, you.
No, I'm not EMEA. I watched NA.
Oh, you watched NA? Okay.
No,
This guy hates EMEA.
Well, no, because it wasn't. I had stuff to do.
It's fine. I mean, it's pretty early.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have watched it.
Your ass gets up at like 10, so.
Well, I would have watched it. It would have been fine. It starts around like noon my time, ish, noon 11.
Not bad.
But I'm like embroiled in a legal battle of sorta. But like, we don't have to like go into that on the podcast. But I had stuff to do.
Okay. So yeah, I want to start with the VP and the TU game, and this is something I wanted to bring up like the other week, dude. We're still playing Peak. It's crazy. So. One of the big things from that series was the fact that Skyle got subbed in for Twilight. Is my goat washed? Is my goat washed?
Better question, is he on the team? Is my goat on the team?
Is my goat on the team still, actually?
That's the better question.
Why would he not? True. Why would he? Has there been rumors that he's already gone?
So I remember seeing somewhere that he's already in Korea again. Am I trolling with that, Avril? I
don't know if he's in Korea, but like it wouldn't surprise me. I think he might have, like, after the previous week, Twilight might have just either he decided he was out or the team decided he was out. I don't know. It's probably more likely that Twilight decided he was fucking done.
Right. Yeah, because that was a bit. I think initially everybody was like, well, okay, I was pogging out of my gourd when it came to the Twilight pickup. But is it good? Like, is it good? Is it not good? Like, I'm starting to really believe that Twilight, although godlike on Ana, he's just not equipped enough to play Overwatch 2. Like, and with the ban system too. If it was a non-ban system, if we didn't have bans, a Twilight would be fine. But I think I have now come to the conclusion after basically being on my knees in front of the guy for like the last 6 years that maybe it is his time to maybe open up the hero pool a little bit, or like just be
I thought
like
you were gonna
he
be like,
was
it's his
on.
time to be like retire. So I thought that was gonna be your
Well,
angle.
I thought
that's
where
another
it was going as
option.
well.
It's either retire or like you got to open the hero pool up. Or
Okay, people. I mean, his
be-
hero pool could definitely open up though. His hero
don't
pool's
be
not
the main
bad.
start. Don't be the main start of the team. You just come in just for the Ana maps. Just for the
In
Ana maps.
Overwatch
Not be
League,
the...
he flexed a bit. And I remember, like, he mostly played Ana, but I remember he definitely did flex a bit, and he didn't look that
Sure.
bad on the flexes.
It
Like-
didn't look that bad, but like they've leveled up so much the flex supports, bro.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I just think that I don't. I mean, I'm on Twilight Copium. Okay, remember, I'm on like.
I mean, I've been on that.
We
for a
both
long
are.
time.
We're two
Yeah.
Twilight Copers, but I truly believe that this is not looking at Ultimate, and you see the quality of the players there. Yes, we could go the funny argument. The funny argument is they're washed. That's the funny argument, right? Like, that's the one that, like, haha, the unks are done, you know, like Christopher and them, like, let's pack it up. But the more reasonable argument is probably for multiple reasons. There are the rumors. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard like the rumors that they're not getting paid properly, which obviously would affect my team morale, because I'm gonna be honest, at this point, if someone's not paying me, I'm gonna be like, no, fuck you. I'm not putting in the work. So like, especially if I'm like agreed to get paid. So like that is a big issue if true. Obviously, big asterisk that I don't know if that's true. That's just like a rumor. Chris himself has alluded to it, I believe. So like, obviously, but I don't actually know if that's true. But like, payment issues are a very big problem. Personalities have clashed. Like, there's a whole bunch, and also the GMing was just kind of bad. You know, like they didn't have a proper support lineup for this meta, like at all. They had a really bad support lineup. Like, I think if you put Twilight with like a support that probably can fill some of the gaps that Twilight doesn't have, especially like playing a lot of those heroes that they really couldn't play, like Lucio and shit like that, like maybe Ultimates looks a lot different, you know? Like, so there was a multifaceted problem of there could be things that we don't know about. There could be the payment options, and also the overall GMing, like the builds of the team, like the support line. They made a bet. Chris, and I'm assuming whoever else the GM was for Ultimates, or Chris might have been solo GM, they made a bet and it didn't work out. The bet was bad and they couldn't fix it in time. And so it's just an unfortunate situation. And also, I mean, like, yeah, Kevster still looked okay, but it's not like everyone else was like playing amazingly, just the backline. Like, they kind of looked just pretty mediocre on average across the board, which could point to a lot of different problems again. So like, I feel like
it's a morale thing.
I feel like there's just like a
like
bunch of behind the scenes issues, maybe with the payment and the support lineup, like not making sense meta wise, that like this team, that is why, because I feel like the thing that Chris has made his bread and butter on as a coach so far, obviously, I mean, I'm sure Chris has more opinions, but his bread and butter has been like, I take a team that's able to play something like a one note type of thing, and I can polish that to like a fine cheese hilt. You know, or not hilt, but a fine cheese blade. I can sharpen my cheese, glorious Nippon cheese, to slice through 1,000 pounds of concrete and steel. And that's like London Spitfire, you know? It was like, that's essentially what London Spitfire was. And I don't think, I obviously, I don't have like the full breadth of it, but like, you know, Christopher before that, if I remember properly, Chris coached Snizzlenose's team in Europe, I want to say. Because that
before
became
Spitfire,
before Overwatch League in general, like, and because before Spitfire,
he was
I don't
coaching
remember.
British Hurricane.
Yes, but once again, the one note, pretty one note team to a degree. If I remember properly,
it was Goats meta, but
yeah, and also before that, I think he was the coach. I want to say he was the coach of Snizzlenose's team, because they took our sponsor Hammers after we got signed to LG, and so, but the point being, that's the only reason. The only reason I'm mentioning that is just because of the fact that like that's how my memory is linking this all, and I believe he's always been on like very one-note teams, and he's really good at polishing. It seems like he's really good at polishing a system. But when you have like a meta that's in flux, and like you're not finding your footing in the meta, it seems like that's where it's a little bit hard. And to be fair, it's hard for every coach. It's really easy for someone to be like, oh, they should just learn the meta. Well, it's like, well, if you don't have the picks for the meta, and also like maybe things aren't working on the back end, it's hard. You know, it's not like a guaranteed easy pick. But looking at his success as a coach, historically, it's typically been with teams that like you know what you're gonna play, and he can like polish that to perfection, essentially. So it's a very different vibe here for what the ultimate situation was in general, and what the problems were the meta. So I think all those players could theoretically still find new homes and perform well. It's just clear that the current roster and its iteration needs to be blown up, and also maybe like I don't know. I mean, maybe they need like I don't know if Ultimates has an assistant coach or something, but like maybe he needs someone to help him kind of polish out that.
Faith is the coach, because
that's right, because he moved to coach because he was the main support.
Because he sung and Twilight, and they had to choose, so they chose Twilight, and so he sung. So he sung and Twilight.
And so maybe Faith wasn't the right pick. I mean, because like typically, essentially, it's like the theorem now where everyone's like, it was never the Krusty coaching tree, it was the Junk Buck coaching tree. You know,
right.
Like maybe like it's one of the situations where you have someone that's really good at what they do, but they need that support to make it happen. I mean, technically, he had Commander X on London Spitfire. I believe,
right.
Commander X.
Yeah.
Now I don't necessarily know. Obviously, you can't attribute everything to any one person per se. And I'm not saying that it is. It's just I don't think Ultimates is like a haha they're washed scenario. I truly believe that there's something that this team just didn't work. This team didn't work
there, but
their structure didn't work, and the backline was unfortunately the wrong pick for the meta.
Dude, I kind of agree with you. I think if you do blow the team up and you just scatter all the pieces, you just throw them. You throw them to different teams. I do believe those players individually still will be able to find a rather large amount of success. You know what would be a funny as hell roster? Old Ocean with Twilight on it as well. That would be, dude.
Why?
What would Jay Hong do?
I know. Well, Jay Hong could play the Life Weaver, bro.
He played Life Weaver.
He's very Life Weaver.
Man.
Yeah, this all good.
Because essentially at that point, you just have two old ass flex supports that like both of them have like. I mean, Jay Hong has the better hero pool right now. If we base it off the current,
yes,
like as of right now,
the current meta, yeah, it's crazy. Actually.
Like his hero pool is actually legitimately better. But
yeah,
I mean, who knows? I mean, I just don't think. I think it's just like. It's just one of those what ifs. This is a what if super team that clearly made the wrong calls and shit went wrong on the back end that we will never know. You know?
My ultimate problem is the guy that's meant to be good on Ana, maybe it's like, okay, well, he's not very good on the other heroes. Maybe we kind of get it. That already is a problem. But then when I casted the EMEA games, the Ultimates games with Matt, and I watched him on Ana, I was like, dude, this guy's not even that good on Ana. He's like missed way too many easy sleep darts. Maybe like, I don't know, I'm being perhaps a little harsh on him for that, but still, it's like, it's that. I just feel like you look at like top Ana players in Korea, and you look at the Twilight's POV, you're like, yo, this is just, he is not on that level. He's not on that like insane level that you want a guy like Twilight with his reputation to be on.
Yeah. I mean, also, obviously you're doing the eye test there, but like, Ana, in my opinion, right now is like really not even that good. You know, it's a decent pocket pick, but like Ana's just okay. You're getting hit by the bees. You're getting hit by the bees.
You're actually just getting beed.
Classic mistake here. He's gonna run out of stamina, bro. He's gonna run out of stamina. The bees are gonna fuck him up. They're fucking his ass up.
Might just die.
But I don't think Ana is like the thing. Even if he was really good at, even if he was like insanely like old Ana tier, like old Twilight Ana tier, I don't think he's like. I don't think that would have saved him. I don't think that would have saved him because the reality he's fucked. I don't think because the situation is he just doesn't have the.
He's got a wizard hat, bro. What's this?
He doesn't have the hero pool necessary. It doesn't seem like he has the hero pool necessary because Ana's not that good right now. I'd rather have someone that can play a variety of other heroes, like in particular like Bab, like Weaver. Fucking Kiriko, you know, like it just none of that really was
because his Alari did not look that good either. I'll say it didn't look great. I do want to move on, by the way. We've spoken a lot about this Twilight debacle. Ultimates obviously didn't end up making it. They got 3-1 by VP. However, the two top teams in EMEA, TU and Alcatia, TU took down VP, which is like, okay, at this point in time, it's like, okay, VP aren't as strong as they were in like stage 1 where they were undefeated, but they're still like an insane team. I think everybody else has just kind of caught up to them. I want to know everybody else's thoughts on that, because is it VP kind of slipping, or was it just stage one? They were just so hot out the gate that now everybody's just kind of caught up. Because yeah, it went to match 5. Jwoo specifically was just fucking, bro. He's so damn good, but couldn't pull him over the line in the lower bracket finals. Do you think TU and Alcad have just caught up, or has VP slipped a little bit?
They didn't catch up. They like, the meta shifted dramatically away from VP strengths, and now we're playing, especially in EMEA, Sim Brawl, and VP just can't learn and adapt to that quickly enough versus teams, especially TM that have so much more experience. Considering that team have played this identity for, I think, years at this point, and it should be fair to Alcad here, like they never had this identity because they're a new team, but I don't know, a combination of maybe Junkbug just being the GOAT and Checkmate being flexible enough to like move over to the sim comfortably and looking insane on it. They managed to like pull together like a really insane sim look, and maybe you know, VP just watching them try and play sim. Jwoo, his mechanics like kind of getting there, but they do look like they lack the experience by a lot compared to the other teams.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Is that it's once again a meta thing, because Virtus Pro look. I mean, realistically, you know, they went to map 5 versus TM in lower bracket. You know, like they looked pretty decent here, and they kind of got it figured out a bit towards the end. It's just a too little, too late type of situation for them. They have the mechanics. It's just they didn't. I think the crucible of the issue, like the crux of it, realistically, was like, are you a really good? If you can pull out a really good sim, you have a really good chance of winning maps and like being a top team right now. And VP just didn't get that figured out towards the end. Like the rest of their hero pool is fine. Like Bestola's hero pool is perfectly fine for this meta for the tank wise. They weren't screwed on that. Jwoo obviously still pounded. His hero pool's pretty solid. Like I just think that, you know, you look at it overall, and it was overall a meta issue for them. And Twisted Minds were way better across the board playing this. And like just across the board, like utilizing the comps in this meta. I don't think this was a Virtus Pro will be good, I think, in EMEA, barring some disaster still. It just took them a while to figure out how to play what they wanted to play. And also, I mean, they had to play with, like, I mean, I don't think Shockwave's Freya was like immediately very good this stage either, which was another limiting factor for them compared to a lot of his other hero picks. Is that like there's a lot of really good players that they had to kind of realize, like, oh shit, like Freya, it's not an instant, like I'm not instantly good at it. And when you have like a very strong mechanical part of your team that's kind of limited and like learning this role, that's also going to hurt your chances against like top teams that immediately are picking it up or just playing really good sim, you know? Yeah, I think it's just purely a meta problem for them. And that's just how it goes in the game of Overwatch, you know? There are only a select few people that are going to be good across every meta all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think especially if you look at the meta from stage 1, being able to play a lot of Sigma as well, like it was VP, they were in good stead. And also Perma Soj, like hard hit scan. I don't think Shockwave is like a Seeker per se, where like I think Seeker definitely looks super weak on the Freya. I think Shockwave looks better on the Freya pick, but it's kind of interesting that some of these players that are just so dominant on things like Soj just kind of got rolled, and some other players overtook them in that regard, which was quite interesting. Obviously, they still qualified. Like Alcad, Twisted Minds, and VP are qualified for mid-season, so they're still chill. It's still good, guys. Don't worry, VP fans.
Yeah,
we'll see if the meta ends up changing. Obviously, we just had the new season come out, although the patch notes don't seem too drastic. Lucio's gotten better, which is quite interesting. Obviously, we talked about that last week. Yeah, so it was a really good series, obviously at map 5, and in fact across both regions. In fact, well, obviously we had the map 7 finals in NA as well. It was actually a really good late half to the tournament, which was,
I mean, I think
surprising.
NA was a lot worse until the finals, to be honest. Like, I don't think NA's upper bracket, like lower bracket, was nearly as good, in my opinion.
Okay,
like,
yeah, sure. Okay,
other than Nightmare nearly losing to Extinction in the quarterfinals, I don't think there was like any.
No, I meant
didn't have a banger.
bracket final, like the lowest finals and then grand finals, like this, the 3 selection games. Yeah, maybe this one wasn't as good, the Nightmare series.
Yeah, I don't think it was a
overall,
particularly great showing from because Geeky pounded Nightmare in that lower bracket final. Like,
yeah,
it was not close.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Maybe it was just the upper bracket final and the grand final. It felt good regardless. I think. I think the map 7 grand finals kind of maybe I'm just biased now at this point to that grand finals, but yeah, it was good regardless. I think both the lower bracket finals in EU, grand finals here, and then upper bracket finals even pretty good here too, despite the shenanigans. We'll get onto that in a minute though. I don't want to like skip ahead, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
Alcad did end up winning the stage 2 title, which, like, are you guys surprised? Are you not? Like, another team that has gone undefeated ends up taking the title, which is quite funny. This happens like all the time. It's like a VP last stage as well, went undefeated, won the title. Alcad this time undefeated in regular season, won the title. Geek undefeated in regular season, won the title as well. Were you expecting Alcad to win this?
I'm only surprised that TM looked less competitive. It's like they lost the first 3 maps, right? Like they had to reverse sweep, which is the crazy part. It's like, wow, I thought the series was going to be a bit more back and forth, like 1-1, like 2-1. They would be trading maps a lot more, but no, they were team looked like they were about to get 4-0'd. So I think that was the most surprising part because I expected the teams to be on par. I didn't know if I believed necessarily that like TM were definitely the better team, or Alcat was definitely the better team. Although, like, based on history, fuck, I actually died, by the way. Based on history, Alcat had the better season so far. They also had the more well-rounded team. I actually remember saying on a previous episode of Al's that if I had to choose, I was going to pick Alcat because they had the more flexible roster. They didn't have to sub anybody in to change things up if they needed to. Checkmate's more flexible. Checkmate has a hero pool that like Psycho and UB together requires 2 people to have like the same hero pool as Checkmate. Yeah, I was probably on the Alcad train a little bit more, and I felt like because the meta seemed fine for Lambda. Like it wasn't Quartz wasn't so much better than Lambda that was going to be the defining factor, and it didn't end up being the defining factor. So. Also, like Ziad's just come out of nowhere and turn up into like this insanely good player too. So
Ziad is a beast.
I was back in Alcad.
Ziad, I think Ziad has been. I think we spoke a lot about UB, at least stage 1, like end of stage 1 kind of thing, being like, holy shit, this guy's a beast. Like, god damn, like, oh, fire player, oh, flex, whatever, like, oh, just play sim. And then he comes out with a Sojourn, and people that are watching his stream and like, big fans of UB were like. Oh, like, no, Labda, sorry. No, he's I meant Labda. He's like actually a freak on Sojourn. He's been like hard pocketing hit scan, and having him and Ziad on the same team, having that like Ziad more so in terms of like the come up like almost instantly, but you be like Labda switching over and then just being a god tier hit scan, I think has just been so good for Alcadzia. Like Ziad. It's like, okay, what does he play really well? Okay, he plays Diva. Okay, cool. Like a little bit of Ram, like a little bit of Malgra as well. Like, because Malgra's pretty decent, but you'd peg him as a Diva player. But I think the flexibility that they've got is fucking nuts. Like, playing into the Diva mirror is like impossible against this guy. It just feels unwinnable.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I was on Twisted Minds train. I was feeling really confident about them. And I think it's insanely funny that Psycho goes and does an episode. Uncoachable Returns does 1 episode and Psycho comes on. And it's like, we're looking unbeatable, then doesn't play for very crucial maps. Like, that
is unfortunate.
I think that is extremely funny for just like the timing of all this, like all things considered. But I do think that looking at them and like seeing how Twisted Minds is playing, Alcadzia definitely seemed like the flexibility helped them a lot. I think the overall comfort levels across the heroes look really good. Also, I mean, it's crazy to say this because I think I saw a couple maps out of the Saudi E-League finals which literally just happened, and I'm gonna be real. Like, I think like their backline. I like their backline was really good. Like Landon obviously has been like fantastic, but like Kelix in particular when he's in and stuff is like he looks like their backline looks even like better than I think if when Haku's out and Kellex is in with Landon, it's like a very, very good backline. It goes from like a pretty good backline to like a very good backline.
Yeah.
So their team just overall across the board looked a lot better. I also don't think that it was a particularly good day for Yubi to come in over Psycho. He didn't look particularly amazing when he played during the series. I even think for KSA, he actually had like kind of a bad series to a degree. Like he was dying a lot and getting caught in like kind of bad positions. So it could just be a form thing. Because I mean, like, you know, referencing again, Saudi E-League just happened, grand finals. Twisted Minds won. They beat Katsia. So like, yeah, I mean, it could just be like these teams are relatively equally matched, right? Like these teams like have like very, especially in this meta right now, like they're kind of going to trade series with each other a lot, which I think is good. You know, having that parity. It's hard for me. It's one of the situations where we don't see that a lot in Overwatch. You know, like Overwatch has almost historically always been like there are 2 to 3 good teams per region that roll everybody, and then there's typically like 1, maybe 2 teams out of that top 3, 4 that are like significantly better than even the top. And especially in OWCS, I would say that gap has widened even with like the addition of like, you know, teams with the Crazy Raccoons and Falcons in the past and stuff. So I think this is a good thing overall to be celebrated, in my opinion, even though like, obviously, like, am I always going to ironically hate it on the EMEA? Yeah. Will that ever change? No. But it is really funny that, and good that I think you have 2 teams right now that seem very evenly matched across the board. And even Virtus Pro looks like they could beat one of these teams, like on a good day for them. They could beat one of these teams.
If the meta
based
is
off their
like,
match with Twisted Minds.
The whole like sim meta is really kind of playing into both TM and Alcad as well, which kind of helps. One player that I think we've all been kind of singing the praise of, and I've especially, like, Simple is a little freaky. Like, I think the versatility in the backline as well with Simple is wild. Especially when you can bring out things like Zen and stuff like that. I think Simple is super impressive. Super impressive. I think maybe just having an off day for TM, like, yeah, maybe it was just, you know, hey, we didn't get him this day. You know, you play Saudi League and you win. I think when it comes to a LAN, it's going to be an entirely different story. And I'm curious how it ends up going down. I think these teams, if they played each other again, like in a month, you know, with this patch, I think it's going to be pretty. It's going to be not a similar situation. It's not going to be a 4-2 again. It's not require a reverse sweep. It's going to be close as fuck.
What's interesting is like they were losing 3 maps and then they sub KSL for TVNT and then they bring it back 2 maps. And looking back at it, it's like, first of all, I'm surprised we played that much Diva. Like it was a lot of Diva. It was like Diva mirrors for most of the maps. And I guess Ziad must just be the Diva GOAT because like one of the maps, Ram, was banned. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. We started with Oasis, where like outside of University, you're probably playing Diva, but even on University, they play Diva. I'm like, okay. And then you go to map 2, and Diva's Ram is banned, so it's got to be Diva Mirror again. And then you go to Circuit, and you actually do play the Ram Mirror, and KSA still loses. So I'm like, holy shit. Maybe it's not the Diva. Maybe it's like not the Ram issue. Like maybe it's not the fact that they just refuse to play Ram because they even lost on the Ram, which is so surprising. And then they sub it KSL for TVNT, who is another Saudi off-tank player, but I just thought he would be a downgrade to KSA. Apparently not. They actually win a couple of maps. Then they go to the first map in the series where the Symmetra is actually banned by either team. And of course, Alcatia is going to be the team to ban it because they know that UB needs it more than Checkmate does. And they ended up playing New Junk City and you have to go Tracer. And that's when, typically in the past, UB's been like competitive on Tracer. But then this map, Checkmate and Alcad just kind of blow them out of the water. You had 2 insane maps in the series that were just like a bit of a no-show from TM, and those were Circuit and New Junk City. And the Circuit one still baffles me because it was like a full hold, and it just didn't look close. And the New Junk City was a 3-0, and it was just like a crazy way to end the grand finals, really, in terms of how far less competitive it was. That just strikes me interesting that like the tank ended up being a bit of a problem for TM to the point where like I think it's like really shallow and basic to say like, oh yeah, well they lost 3 maps to KSA and then they started winning TMNT, but literally that is what happened. So I mean that's actually just what happened.
But I think, like I said, it's KSA had a bad day. UB didn't look particularly good, even though UB like it typically has looked a lot better on the past. Like that's why I think this is a form thing and why EMEA comparatively is in a really good spot parity wise. I mean, it's pretty much like the parity of EMEA between the top 3 right now of them, Virtus Pro and stuff. It's giving Korea vibes in terms of like how much strength there is in the region comparatively, like amongst themselves. Because North America by far is still like kind of struggling with those parity between those teams. And I think that you take a look you take a look at EMEA, all these guys, I could see it just happening. Like if Twisted Minds have a better series, guess what? It's Saudi E-League finals, you know, like they win today, like 4-3. Like
right.
Like it just feels like it wasn't a particularly great series for them. Like players that are typically going to show up and do a lot better, and also the psycho stuff, like the bans hurt them. And I think AVRL's point of like the flexibility for Cadsia is still like an overall boon to them. Like it gives them a little bit of extra edge at times, because they get into this last map situation there, the map in the series where they're trying to take it to the map 7, and it's like, okay, well, UB still in. It's like, why don't bring in Psycho? It's like, okay, even if they bring in Psycho, guess what? Like bans are still going to occur, so you could just ban the Tracer, right? Like and like, okay, but then they could ban the sim.
Ban happens
ended up happening. Exactly.
Ban happens
but that's
after
what
sub.
Yes.
Yeah.
People were like,
Which
oh,
means-
why don't we make subs? Like, why aren't there subsidies? But it's like the bans still would have hurt them there because of the flexibility of Katsuya comparatively. So it's like, that is one of the benefits that Katsuya has over Twisted Minds a little bit, is that a little bit extra flexibility. But realistically, they should have been fine. Twisted Minds should have been fine with UB playing Tracer, and he just didn't play that well. On top of the, I would say as a KSA off day. So I just think it's a form problem.
Kellex might be the GOAT.
Dude,
Honestly,
he might be. He might be the GOAT. He might be the GOAT.
This guy is one of the few season 1 players that is just like unbelievable. Bring up his Wikipedia real quick and just take a look.
And that now it makes sense why he benched me. Now it makes sense. Like he might be the GOAT. It makes sense.
Kellex's Wikipedia.
That's my new agenda. Kellex is the best main, one of the best main support players to come out of Europe, because that's why I got benched. That's my new agenda I'm pushing.
Hold on. It's not right. There it is. And honestly, he retires for like a stage or like half a year at a time, comes back and just wins.
Yeah.
If you look at his previous results in the past 2 years, because he doesn't play that often.
Yeah,
aside from the Ents World Final, which like I don't know, like I guess Ents just didn't do too much there. If you can all that 7th, 8th, it's all first and second. It's actually incredible. It's all first and second, all the way down.
Yeah.
Like holy shit!
He is a very good player. He is a very, very good player.
Singularity.
And that's why, I mean, we were vying neck and neck, and he's just, unfortunately, he's one of the best talents. And myself, I'm really good, but I wasn't as good as Kellex. So it all comes together.
He can also just retire, not play for 6 months, comes back and just wins straight away. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who can do that? Who has the ability to just like go away for a whole stage or two and just not even just come back and look good, but literally win?
Oh, yeah, he dominated in 2020 as well on British Hurricane. That's so funny. Holy
Now, to
shit.
be fair, I'm going to say not that he played badly on British Hurricane, obviously, but like you could probably sub in a lot of main support.
I know.
In a 20-day British Hurricane.
But like, for him, it was just like all dubs. Like he was
no, he's a very, very good, and I do
time.
think like even like he just looks pretty good, and
Yeah.
The team overall I think look better with him in, honestly, over Haku. I know Haku's kind of there because they got to have their like DEI Saudi Arabians essentially to qualify for E-League and stuff, but like it's I do think that like he's a very, very good player, which once again, that's the agenda we're pushing now, is that he was one of the best main supports that have ever come out of Europe.
New Plat Chat agenda just dropped.
New Plat Chat agenda. We will be studying this. We will be studying this agenda moving forward.
Before we move on to NA, obviously with mid-season coming up, the differences in metas from both regions is kind of cool. Normally, across all regions, it's pretty much the same, or close to being the same. But EU, classically so, heavy sim, which is quite fun, because I think if NA was also doing the same thing, it'd be kind of boring. So I'm curious if that's going to continue, because the patch wasn't crazy. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe the patch is fucked, and maybe Moira is OP now because of the buff. But seeing a lot of Moira in solo queue today, by the way. Every single game. Like, what the fuck's that? If they play it once in fucking NA and it's perma picked in solo queue, it's ridiculous. But it's going to be cool to see the clash of styles, and I think that's one of my favorite things about Overwatch is the clash of regions and the styles in terms of comps. Let's move on to NA. Because NA, oh boy, that was fun. I think NA was rather hee funny. When it comes to bracket, me and AVRL covered a lot of it.
Dude, AVRL in North America. Could you believe it? AVRL in North. You tune in and you see AVRL in North America. Like, I can't believe what I was.
We
seeing
can't
there.
get flashbang.
No line.
You get
Yeah, and
flashbangs like, whoa, it's AVRL. Like,
I was like, people were like, oh, I can't believe it. And the whole time while he was casting with you, he was listening to my stream and laughing the whole time. Could you believe that, Jaws? The whole time he was in the chat. He was.
awesome.
He
you
was.
think,
He was.
you think
listening.
I'm watching like the production feed on VMix? I was actually just casting up a
Just
Avast
casting
POV the whole
through
time.
Yeah.
Connor's POV. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's the take some talent right there.
Yeah. Dude, I called him fucking Johnny. I called different players different names through that like last game. Dude, I was fucking kicking myself. I was like, bro, why the fuck are my fucking names up? It pissed me the fuck off. How many fucks
Maybe you
can
should
say
stop
in a
getting
fucking
rotated
sentence?
around, man.
What, but with all different co-casters? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Could you like stop doing that?
I've been enduring this since 2020, big guy. So yeah,
This guy's
it's not
got
gonna stop.
this guy's got a harem of co-casters. He's just so unfaithful. He can't settle down.
Yeah,
he just wants,
classic
he just wants to
man.
play the field. This guy just wants to play the field.
Classic man.
Classic man, dude.
Yeah. I've had 14 color commentators since I joined the Overwatch League in 2020.
Holy.
Yes.
Look at this guy's body count. He's got 14 co-casters.
This is
Wow.
insane.
bro.
Wow.
That's
14.
double digits. That's double
And you know the
digits.
person
Call
I've
this guy-
not
call this
casted
guy the
with
Bonnie
on
Blue
the
casting.
call right
Holy
now.
shit. God damn.
I have not cast with Connor. Connor's one of the only people
Nope.
I've not cast with because he refuses to.
That's
He
not true at all,
refuses
by
to.
the way. Not true at all. Not true at
Waiting
all.
for the-
He doesn't
waiting
vouch
for
for
the-
me.
Waiting for the Jaws casting with 1,000 co-casters in 24 hours challenge. Whoa.
Yeah,
Dropping
Mr.
soon,
Beast.
dropping
That's a
soon.
Mr. Beast video.
Oh,
Holy
fuck.
shit.
That's a good one, actually. That
Yeah,
is
you
a
like that
very, very
reference?
good one.
New Mr. Beast. Yeah, let's talk about the Nightmare versus Space Station game.
Spoiler, it was not a
because-
Mr. Beast reference. Spoiler, it was something
Well,
else.
Mr.
worry about it, though.
fucking
Don't worry
Mr.
about it.
Weast? Mr. fucking
No.
Weast.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
No,
It's
I
better
know
that
what
you don't
Avril
know.
is referencing. You
better
are
that
too
Jules
pure
doesn't
of
know.
heart. You're too
better
pure
that
of heart
Jules
to know
doesn't know.
this. It's good. It's good that he doesn't know. This is why we can't be co-casters because of the darkness in my spirit.
The
comparatively.
darkness in your spirit.
The darkness in my spirit compared to yours.
This is. I will not be Googling this later. I will not be Googling this later.
Do not Google
That's
this.
good.
Do
later.
not Google this
That's
later.
good.
Space Station versus Nightmare. Space Station just kind of bomb out. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, a little 3-0 for Nightmare. Nightmare obviously is still looking super sick, even though people have strayed away from strayed away from the Freya. Like Chronic was a fucking beast in this series. Yeah, how did you guys feel about it? Because I think everybody still expected SSG to do well, and my God, were people chatting a lot of shit on the timeline after this series? Because a
Solomon, pull up
3-0 like this.
Pull up the image of Hunter and getting the phone call, and it's like fraud alert. You know, pull up the phone call.
that one is crazy.
I
I did
love
see
that
that
image.
one. I did see that one.
The fans did go wild. The fans
The
did go wild.
fans went a little crazy.
I just want to say that is the narratives. Everything that came out of that episode of Uncoachable was really, really funny. As someone that hate watches that show because they're our worst enemies and we're constantly fighting them, and we're all gonna fight them in the streets at one point. The narrative of like Psycho's like we're unbeatable, loses to Alcatia, and then Nightmare are trending downwards, says Hunter. Immediately gets owned by Nightmare, or not by Nightmare, but by Nightmare. And I do think this might have been one of the worst SSG games in a long time because they looked bad. Like this was like they looked bad. That's like this is one of the things where this wasn't like the reads were off. Like no, they looked bad. They
I
looked
would say
really
a caveat
bad.
to that is I think Lenny looked good. I think Sugar Free
Yes.
still looked good, but
Sugar
the rest
Free
of the
looked
team
good. Yes.
did not look good.
Yeah, they
I
looked
agree.
really bad. And Nightmare overall, like holistically, like Chronic in particular, styled on them. Chronic like absolutely styled on, but even in general, like
on
my
multiple
backline,
heroes,
my Bliss
too.
CJ backline was getting immensely gapped by Luke Mino Lep too.
Yeah.
Immensely gapped. Like it was just kind
Lep
of a
had
general
funny tweet.
gappage.
Yeah,
did
Bring
he?
up the left tweet. Bring up the left tweet.
Lep's tweet was pretty crazy. I can link it.
I
if
saw
you
the
want.
Luke Mino tweet being like, "I guess I need my passport now" or something. I don't know about the
Yeah.
Lep one. I don't know what the Lep one was, but
the left one said a little bit more than
Oh.
that. He had a couple.
Okay.
He had a couple additional words to say. But
did he have more words
I think
to
this
say?
was a combination. But I just think Nightmare played well. I don't know if you guys remember the Extinction series. But like, I think
Is
it'd be
this
safe
the
to
one
say
below
that,
it? The reply as well.
I think it'd be safe to say that Nightmare played a ton better than the Extinction series. It's kind of weird. It's like they didn't do well in the Extinction series. Played insane life gain in the SSG series, and then looked invisible again in the GK series. Right? Like even the GK series with space is entirely different.
Yeah. So this
let's
is
scroll
his
down.
tweet, and then
There you go. Read that.
So, dude, have you seen this one, Connor?
I have not seen this. I had not seen this. That is really funny. That's very, very funny.
And like, yeah.
I love when other podcasts get hate. I love it. I love when other podcasts get hated on. It makes me feel so good. Damn it. I mean,
Jonathan has been pretty good, to be fair. So that's a good shout out.
I mean, obviously we could discuss the ethics of whatever, but like, yeah, the SSG in my opinion just looked. I mean, it just looked really, really bad across the board. Nightmare looked great, which is also funny because Nightmare, when they played Geek Next, got literally also styled upon, and it wasn't even close. Right. So I don't know what happened in between that, but like, and I think a big portion of it realistically was that they had a lot of momentum. Go ahead, Admiral. Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I won't read the whole thing, but just so
you don't have to read it, man. You don't have to read it.
I'll summarize. How about I do a summary for the audio listeners?
Okay, quickly summarize.
Lep punching back a little bit because you know, a few community members, which who could they be? I don't know. I really couldn't.
Who could those members be?
I really couldn't tell you who those community members could be, but a few community members basically said Lep and Luke Mino, bad players, they're gonna suck. And we're just going to plow through them. And so both Lep and Luke Mino came back on Twitter after they beat SSG with some very choice words for the people that criticized, for the community members that criticized them. And Lep used a few more words than Luke Mino.
A few more expletives.
And specifically atted several community members. but notably not the main guy who was talking shit about him, which is quite interesting to me. And called out a particular non-Plat Chat related podcast for some reason. I'm not too sure why he did that. very unimportant from Lep, actually.
The audio descriptive goes crazy. Yeah.
That's a good description.
I did that entire description in sign language, by the way.
But yeah, I mean, realistically, like they did not look good. And I think what exemplified that even more was how good Chronic was across multiple heroes and just diffing Seeker on every single one of them. The Cassidy, diff Seeker. The Sojourn, diff Seeker, and the Freya
surprising.
Too. And it was
Seeker's
like,
best hero.
Exactly. It was like, holy shit. Like, going into that, I'm like, okay, if they end up playing the Freya matchup, which Seeker probably will opt out of, he'll probably go Soj or like something else, Cassidy. I was like, okay, that's actually a pretty even matchup. Like, Chronic was playing a life game in that series, it felt like. Although I feel like I've said that before. Like, the guy's always playing life games. But Chronic looked exceptional. And it was a very, very quiet performance from Seeker, which was shocking. Like, even the Cassidy, I'm like, shit, man, Cassidy, it's a good pick for Seeker, like, straight up. And same with the Soj. But yeah, just Chronic looked super good. And Nightmare in general looked really good. And then, yeah, unfortunately, they got fucking Omega stomped by GK, which was a little surprising. After that series versus SSG, I think a lot of people were like, okay, goddamn. I think even the community Preds as well, AVRL, weren't they like, they were close. They weren't super mega blowout, right? I think it was like 60 plus or something for GK. Something like that. But I didn't expect it to go this one-sided this quick. Like, how many points? Yeah, Oasis 1 round, Circuit 2 points, but GK finished with a decent time as well. Like, and then New Junk City, they got 3-0. So yeah, and that was 3-0. Come on, man.
I think we expected map 1, obviously Nightmare coming through with the immediate Soj ban. You know that's going to be a pretty Nightmare favorite map. You're going to have Freya on this map. Soldier's gone. So this was the map where, like, okay, probably if Nightmare going to win a map in this series, assuming that they are the weaker team, which isn't I think most people would be correct in saying that coming into this one, Space Station are the favored team, which is why everyone clowned on them, because like they were really favored and Nightmare were not favored in this matchup. So you look at this,
I think that's hella recency bias though. Like, I think that's a little bit of code.
Yeah, but recency bias, like,
because of Nightmare getting almost fucking beaten by extinction, bro.
Recency bias
Space
does
Station
matter,
taking
though.
a map off GK. It does.
So
a little bit.
Yeah, and so like, okay, map 1, you sort of understand what happens, but then map 2, when it's an actual legit Soj mirror, and then I remember saying this on cast, but the first thing that Chronic does when he switches to Soj, because they start on cast, I think both players start on cast, and then very quickly Seeker's on Soj, and then Chronic eventually on B. He's like, I better go Soj as well. Comes out of spawn. First thing he does is charges up one rail and just destroys Seeker mid OC. Pika's overclocking,
Yes.
and then you see him die, and it's Chronic on the kill feed who shuts down the OC, and Chronic literally just spawned on Soja. I'm like, wow, that's a statement. And so from that point onwards, that's when it was over. I think at that exactly at that moment,
You're pinpointing
I knew,
that's the mental collapse right there.
no, I exactly at that moment I knew Nightmare were going to win the series, genuinely, because I'm like, okay, that's it. SSG are done. Chronic's about to come through and absolutely dunk on everyone. He's about to gap Seeker on Sojin, and it's just SSG's not going to recover from here. You could just see the collapse. You could see the collapse coming in real time after
Like
that.
the Simpsons meme with Ralph's heart, like EMEA, and it breaks. And it was him getting edge up with the railgun.
They were getting, I mean, but that's what, the overall point was, like, they were getting, I also felt like Kellen, which is kind of shocking because Kellen, I feel like Kellen's shown a lot more flexibility than when he kind of first showed up, like, post, especially when he was with on an NRG, is that he's shown a bit more flexibility as time gone. But the Orisa mirror was also really, like, this whole series was a series of, it was a tale of two gaps, like,
Sure.
there was the like SSG was getting gapped across the board besides essentially Linny, and Chronic was rolling. He was breaking mentals, like, everywhere that pretty much they needed to be comparatively. Like, Kellen was either out of position or not setting up like very good plays, in my opinion. Like, I do think like this is a much better series for Painkiller on the Orisa in particular. And then the backline was just dead all the time. I felt like there was multiple times this series where I was watching Bliss and CJ, and they simply just didn't live through a lot of engagements. Like, they didn't survive through a lot of the initial fights, like, at all. Luke Mino was getting like, I think there was, I can't remember which map it was. I wish I could remember, but there was it might have been this map. It might have been Hollywood, where Luke Mino got like 3 picks in a row on like SSG.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
I know, and it was fucking crazy. I wish I could remember. I think he was on Kiriko, right?
He was on Kiriko.
And he got like 3 picks in a row. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's 3. They literally just won like 3 fights off of Luke Mino just killing 2 people. And, Luke Mino's been a player that's always been, I think, contentious because he was always really good. And he's also been really flexible throughout his career because he's originally a flex support player, and then he swapped to main support. And then he's kind of just played everything. But, like, he clearly showed up in this series. And Lep, I mean, when you have got kids to feed, bro, like, he shows up, bro. He's got kids to feed. I mean, like, I do think like this is just overall, like, they looked really, really great in the meta. They looked really good, but it just feels like, again, a form thing, right? Because if you go into the next series, and it's a shooter. It's a shooter, right? I think like Bryn said it best on Plat Chat Valorant. Sometimes it's like the angles, the blah, oh, you're gonna get shot in the face. Like, like it's literally just
you die. You get shot, you die.
And to a degree, it's essentially the same in Overwatch, where like if you just show up with a better form some days, you will just win. And Nightmare had a far better form here, and partially because of the fact that I think the meta reads for them were better. But in particular, I think on the main tank section, or on the tank section, like, I don't think Kellen has looked as comfortable swapping off of some of those more traditional picks and like playing the Orisa comparatively to Painkiller.
It doesn't feel like his meta.
No, it doesn't. He doesn't feel like he's in the right spots a lot. He loses gold a lot first, often. Like, and gold is like one of the most, like, that reinforces one of the most important cooldowns in general for Orisa. And if you're using that, like, then everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna pulse you. I'm gonna like go for the fight right after. And he uses it very fast, very frequently, a lot, which typically speaks to like he's a little bit too fast on the trigger, in my opinion. But that's part of just the wider issue of they've never looked particularly good this stage. And I think Nightmare just styled upon them because they felt good and they looked really good because then they play Geekay and they get fucking dicked. So it's like they just get dicked down by Geekay. And the thing is, like, there's not much to be said about it because compared to like Twisted Minds Kadsia, I'm like, yes, it was a form issue, but also we can go break down probably specific things that went wrong. Like, oh, the sub's happening, they banned Sim, or this, like, they lost in the bans, right, in that mass map. Oh, like, maybe they could have like done this microplay like a little bit better. But when you look at this SSG game and you go back and look at the DK game, these teams it was just dickings on either side. It was Nightmare doing dicking, and Nightmare getting dicked, and there isn't much to break down there because it wasn't close.
That was the one game they needed. That was the one game they needed. They just need to win that semifinals game, and then they lock their place in at midseason. So you know what? Get dick down here. All good. New patch. We can just switch it up.
True.
I think Nightmare is still a team to fucking root for. Like, this team is extremely fun to watch still, and they are still, I think, in my mind, like the underdogs when it comes to North America. So yeah, I'm excited to see how they end up performing in mid-season.
Speaking
on.
of getting dick down, somebody needs to knock Bliss up and give this guy some kids. He doesn't. He's got the kid gap. Lep's got the kid gap on him. He's got the better motivation. Bliss just doesn't have children. Okay, he needs to get dick down so he can have some kids, and then he'll be able to play the way Lep plays, because that's the real motivation I'm talking about. CJ did pop off on Coliseum because that's when they banned the BAP, and both Luke Mino, sorry, not CJ, Luke Mino popped off the Kiriko.
That's what it was.
That's when everyone played the Kiriko. But also Rocket ended up moving to Genji for that map. He started on the Sim, which I was like, I don't know if Nightmare really a Sim team. Not a good look. They were kind of losing, was sort of still even. Then Rocket goes Genji, and he's actually keeping up with Sugar Free, because Sugar Free's trying his best. I remember fights with Sugar Free's like blading. He's killing a couple, and then you start seeing the kill feed, like, oh,
Rocket
Rocket's
would
playing,
kill him,
and then
with
he's
the
killed
blade.
like 3. Yeah, and then Rocket's got more. I'm like, holy shit, Nightmare's doing it. So, yes, so yeah, I mean, I think at least the last map kind of got close. Coliseum was like within 20 meter, 21 meter margin, which is a very close Coliseum. But so I won't say that it was a 3-0 blowout, although the first 2 maps weren't that great out of SSG.
I don't think they were
particularly
particularly close for the first 2.
At least SSG got a round on Busan, and at least they made a Coliseum look reasonable. But but I just think this is the Nightmare life game, because the other 2 games surrounding this, the Extinction game and the GK game, Nightmare played a lot worse.
Dude, it's something about Extinction, man. I don't know.
Well, like I said, I think legitimately Extinction, the one shine. I mean, they have good players, but like one of the most important shining graces in Extinction is Satori, and she can play every tank, and that's like so good to keep you competitive in this. Because like I think a lot of the teams that struggle, and it even goes to EMEA when we talk about like some of the flexibility things for like Kadsia versus Twisted Minds, right? Is like if you can have a very, very flexible tank player in particular, then you're in a really good spot for the rest of your team, because you don't have to like essentially make swaps to take players off whether they're hot or cold. Well, you don't have to like fine tune strategies about a particular lineup. You don't have to worry about form. Like you're just like, okay, like they're gonna play. They're gonna play all the time. So that's something that Extinction's got going for them, comparatively. But it is just a form thing for me. I'm gonna get a slop. I'll be right back. Anyone want to go to the fridge? Anyone want to go to the fridge here?
Oh well, I would.
No, second
love,
slop
I would
today.
love a slop. Actually,
ready.
I would love a slop.
Sloped
Right
up.
Okay, he's good. That's good.
He's got
Sludged
slop.
up.
I'm the only one
Sludged up.
without slop. Connor can hear me still, luckily, thank God. I wish he couldn't hear me so I could chat shit about him. But upper bracket final, I did want to talk about this because DK deferred most of their bans against Team Liquid, and then Team Liquid won 3-1. And we were both saying on the cast, Avril, like, bro, what the hell is happening? Like, why are they doing
I know
this?
what's happening.
They are just getting kind of smoked.
I know what's happening.
Go on.
But I'm pretty sure I explained it on the broadcast too a little bit. But it's essentially like the only advantage you get from deferring bans is that you get to counter ban. So the first ban sort of reveals the position in the pathway that the other team is trying to take. It shows you what type of composition they're trying to play. It shows you their hand, their strategy a little bit. And then you would do the response ban. You get to do the counter ban. So it's like, you know, trying to think of a good example of what this would be like. It would be like, oh, we really want to play a comp that has like, I guess the Life Weaver thing makes the most sense. For example, it would be like, if you want to protect your Life Weaver by banning like, I don't know, Lucio or something, or you ban away Kiriko, right? Then you clearly want to play the Life Weaver BAP, and then we're going to response ban Hazard, right? So banning second in that case, the first ban reveals what the opponents want to do. They want to play Life Weaver BAP. Your response ban is to ban the Hazard, and therefore you counter their plan. That's the advantage of banning second, if there was an advantage. It's not always an advantage. Usually it's better to ban first, but in some cases you might want to ban second. So that would be why you might want to ban second.
That's a good thing.
Although they did lose those maps, to be fair.
Yeah, haven't people talked about it a lot? And I think the theory is just essentially also in particular, like, I think in Korea they talked about it too, Avril. I can't remember who it was, but
Jumpin'.
Jumpin', yeah. But essentially it's like also if you feel like if you have similar styles in particular as well, and you think that you know that, yeah, there's a particular quote, but like if you have a similar stylistic matchup too, because if you think about it, Geek and Nightmare are also, they're not too dissimilar, other than that Geek also, like, they love to play, if they, you know, they also love to play a bit of Weaver, you know? they like to play a bit more, like to play a bit of Weaver for them, like in terms of like their hero pools and like what they're gonna play. And sure, they could also like put I think they can also like play like a slightly more breadth of comps, but in general, like their styles aren't too dissimilar. Like they're gonna play very similar style comps. Painkiller and Kuffa are both gonna be like, okay, like let's pull out Ram, let's pull out fucking Orisa. Kuffa probably a little bit more happy to play like a Winston. I do think like there are benefits to giving up those bans because you know that whatever they pick, you can just build around, and also you're not too worried because there's nothing they can really ban that's gonna hurt you that won't like more drastically hurt them to a degree. So like giving up first ban essentially allows you to be like, now we can play around the secondary strategy, which is leaning into like AVRL's point a bit of like you can like kind of fine tune the bans a bit more when you're not worried about the first ban because you know that's going to be a similar matchup and there's nothing that they can really throw a curveball at. Like I feel like that's where the situation where Nightmare, if you'd really seen like some crazy things happen, is like Nightmare would have like workshopped the potential strat to be like, we're going to pull out some crazy first bans here and like have some options to where we can kind of potentially hurt GK. But the reality is, if you have a really flexible team, which GK is pretty flexible, there isn't a lot that you can like fuck them on, you know, because Admiral is going to be able to flex to play like a lot of different supports at this point. Kuffa is very flexible. Their DPS line's pretty flexible. Like there isn't real. I mean, I would say the most vulnerable point for GK is lethal. Like if you can remove like Cass and Soj and stuff like that, then like that's probably one of the better options for ban picks. Which I believe they tried once. But other than that, like with the cast ban at the end. But, you know, there isn't really like a huge point of like we're going to be able to, you know, absolutely dominate them by removing certain bans, you know, for Nightmare.
Bring up the Jumbin thread and I'll show you where the quote is. We'll read the quote together.
It was just, while you're doing that, it was just interesting in that series as well because every single map win Team Liquid got, they banned first, and then GK they banned first on Kings, and then they won that map. Like it just, so the narrative is going to be painted like, oh, actually this is fucking terrible. Why the fuck did they do that? And then in the finals they don't do that. They don't forfeit the bans. They ban for or like ban normally, you know what I mean? And they end up winning, although it was a 7 mapper. So yeah, I think the narrative is going to get painted like this sucked and this is a dumb decision, but maybe it does have legs, like you guys are kind of alluding to. And yeah, this is the thread with Jumbin.
So he says the reason we kept giving first ban to T1 is that our team identity styles are similar, and I feel confident in the mirror there is nothing special to ban, so it's more advantageous to have the follow-up ban to predict the enemy team's direction and comp. Yeah. Now, I think that's more true for the CRT1 game and a lot less true for the NA finals, the GK Liquid finals, because I don't think they're as fair. Similar of teams. The really confusing one was the Circle one. Oasis, I can maybe like kind of understand, but the Circle one is like, okay, well, you're just gonna let Liquid ban the Life Weaver then? Yeah,
they're
obviously just gonna ban the Life Weaver. Like,
because we were saying like,
weird.
Are they going to ban a support? Like maybe you just run in and you ban a support so you can just at least protect that. You ban like Mercy or whatever, and then you've got the BAP Life Weaver, and then you can at least play it. But Liquid, I feel like I want to know what the comms are like in Liquid. Like, oh, we get to ban first? Oh, okay, we just ban Life Weaver. like
obviously, like what else?
Yeah,
that's like so most obvious.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's just like, well, okay, sounds good to me. Like, why the fuck are you giving us first ban? We know exactly what you want to play. Sorry, that's the upper bracket finals. This one, yeah, the Life Weaver right there. And it's just like, I wonder if Team Liquid were like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Because that's what my thought would have been. Like, these guys have been ridiculous on Circuit Royale with this comp. Like unkillable shit. And didn't they try it as well with the Lari? It was like a Lari and BAP, right?
Is that what they played? I can't remember.
It was definitely like a substitution or some shit like that. But
I thought we were talking grand final, not but that's my bad. I thought we were
upper bracket final is when.
Okay, I was a little confused because I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, but that makes more sense.
No, upper bracket is when GK
deferred
the bans, but
yes,
yeah, which was an insane an insane strat. Did not work out at all, but it was okay because GK then just absolutely clapped Nightmare, and then they ended up in finals anyway. So yeah, RuPaul got MVP this map, and they had a hell of a series. I think Team Liquid and GK are a lot closer than I think people maybe realized because of how well Nightmare did in the regular season. Let's move on to the grand finals though. Map 7, absolute omega banger. First thing I want to bring up, we'll talk about Map 7 real quick because oh wow, look at that.
Is there any commentary about the lower bracket final? When we just get out of the way real quick, we can just say like,
Geekay just rolled them. Geekay just rolled them. They stopped trolling, and Nightmare, unfortunately, like, I mean, like, the thing is, my one bit of commentary is I think a lot of people were really big on Nightmare, and I think that's a very fair bet. But the reality is the core of this team has never looked better than like top 4 North America, like a 4th place, you know? And like, don't get me wrong, did they style on fucking SSG? Yes, they did. They styled on fucking SSG. Maybe in a different meta, we see a slightly different result there, I think. I think the meta was really good for Nightmare, but Nightmare as a team is like, this is not saying that, by the way, they can't do well out of the international event, like for midseason, you know? This is not saying they're not going to be able to do well. It's more so like, there was a lot of belief for a team that historically and so far their results for like they were like timeless and stuff, that it really hasn't been there, you know?
Okay.
And a lot of people were really surprised. I think there was a lot of surprise, like, oh man, Geekay, like, they rolled them. It's like, yeah, man, like Geekay just has done really, really well the past stage. This core has done well all stage. Nightmare has looked like, you know, pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong, they've had a really good stage, but I don't think this is like a core team yet that it's like insanely proven at like the top, like when it matters level. They're proven at like we can compete in a regular season level, but we're not yet proven of like we're gonna show up in playoffs and like dominate, you know?
It's probably a lot to do with the fact that they also beat Liquid in regular season, but if you remember back to that, is when Liquid were just not looking that good.
Oh, they look bad. Yeah, they look really bad then.
Really bad, and Nightmare did catch them on that little downswing. So maybe that's got something to do with it as well. And yeah, like you said, maybe the experience level isn't there in terms of doing it like running through a
and I think Nightmare could still show up and do good at the international event, you know? I'm not writing them out of it. I'm simply saying that like it shouldn't come as a surprise, essentially, for a team like EK that's had international success, essentially, like that core, to show up and kind of just roll you when you play against the, you know, your best wins. If you really think about their best wins overall, is like a Liquid that looked really poor and an SSG that looked kind of lost in the meta, and looked really lost at that time. So,
yeah, it was the 3-0. GK obviously ended up in the grand finals. And I want to start this off on going all the way to map 7 because there is even a little annotation at the very bottom of this Wikipedia thing. And so for those of you who didn't catch it, or obviously audio listeners, on Wikipedia right now, you can see the bans for every single map, and you can see who banned first. Symmetra in game 7 was banned. However, me and AVRL were both very confused on the cast because both teams rolled out with Sim. And on Wikipedia, it says Sim was banned in map 7, but both teams picked the heroes at the start of the round and used it to get out of spawn. The map was not replayed. Because as soon as that happened, okay, two things went through my mind. It was like, wait, is the hero not disabled in the lobby so you can still select it? I was like, okay, I thought that was a thing, but apparently not. And the other thing was like, are they going to remake this map? Because both teams show Sim, but then at the same time, both teams only rolled out with it, and that was it. There was no, unless someone had a better pixel lineup for the Sim TP than the other team, like there was no real advantage gained, I'd argue. But that was one of the big things that stuck out to a lot of people, was like, wait a second, Sim's fucking banned, bro. Why the hell are we selecting it? Like, selecting it in spawn is one thing, but like actually rolling out with it was like, oh shit, actually this is not good.
So the players just like, first of all, you could hear me on the round 2. Round 1, I missed it. Round 2, I literally brought it up before gates open. I'm like, oh, they've actually hovered Sim, but it's banned. Oh, no, they're just messing around. They're not actually going to use Sim. There's like, oh,
yeah,
nope,
right.
They're actually teleporting. I'm not too sure what that means. And then
Yeah.
Jaws,
so
on the other hand,
it
bro
is
said,
banned right now, and boom, and TP. Yeah, bro said,
Bro said,
So both teams ended up rolling out with it. The map wasn't replayed. I think that is probably the best decision. It would have been really shitty if they had to replay that map, I think, or like
no one got an advantage, so it's like whatever, right?
Yeah, and also they immediately, I think they both immediately swapped off.
Oh, so apparently there was a Faceit lobby creation error, and the Faceit lobby, at some reason, assigned a Symmetra ban to Game 6 and not Game 7, and assigned a Malga ban to Game 7. So, yes, the hero is supposed to be banned in the lobby, meaning that you can't choose it at all. It's meant to be blanked out. You can't even select the hero. That's how it's supposed to be. But Faceit got it, the lobby creation got it wrong somehow. So every team, both teams just like autopiloted because everyone sends TPs out of spawn. So they just autopilot. Yeah. The Faceit lobby creator bugged out. Or maybe it was a manual admin. It could have been a manual admin error. It bugged out, or the admin got it wrong. Either way, something happened. But the only thing I would have said, which is kind of cooked here, is if one of the teams did actually want to play Malga, and Malga being accidentally banned did screw the team. That would have been fucked. Although, if that was the case, the team would have brought that up at the time and said, "Hey, pause. We want to play Malga. It's banned by accident. Restart the shit." They would have said that at the time, which they didn't.
And Oasis and like how these teams play anyway, there ain't no way these guys are playing Malga. Maybe on like University, you could argue.
Infected did play a lot of Malga this series, so it's not out of the question. But yeah,
but it is Oasis. Like I don't know, maybe you pull out the Malga, but yeah, that's kind of funny actually. I didn't know that. So yeah, that was what I kind of wanted to start the series, start this talk off with, was the fact that both teams chose Sim, and. So yeah, that was kind of silly, but yeah, an incredibly back and forth series in the end. Team Liquid obviously took that first map, and one of the big storylines going into this was the fact that GK had lost every control map against Team Liquid throughout the regular season, and then into the playoffs as well. And then they win the one control when it matters, which was that Oasis. It was kind of fucking hype. I think when it comes to modes like that, or like when it comes to stats like that, I think it's kind of sick. Like the one map you need to fucking win. Bruno Sapi was pretty interesting. Both teams, and an incredible comeback actually ended up taking place as well.
Yeah, weren't we at an AVRL theorem? I thought we were at an AVRL theorem, which did come out to be true still, but it was an insane comeback.
But it was an insane pushback. It was 132 meters to Geeke in the end, but yeah, the AVRL, you literally called it. You were like, "This is fucking over, bro."
Well, I laid the ground for first of all, I'm going to say this. There was actually a real Malgabon in map 7 as well, so that wasn't a mistake. It was just Symmetra. Anyway, to Runasapi, I did lay out, I did say, like, this is unlikely to be a comeback in terms of Team Liquid actually winning, and they didn't win, so, you know, I ended up still being correct on that one, which is great. But the comeback potential is there. It just happens to be, like, you need to do certain things for the comeback potential to be there. And on, like, broadcast, I did say, like, here are the parameters and like essentially the win conditions that need to be set for the Team Liquid comeback to be real. And like they were kind of like 20 meters or something short of that, and not quite the right positioning in OT, all these kind of things. So the game at that stage very stacked against them when GK are at 132 and Team Liquid are on the back foot. It doesn't mean that you can't make a push. These fake comebacks on OT always happen. You know, you watch a bunch of these push games.
To 0 as well is fucking what. Yeah. We were pretty convinced that this was just going to be a full cap as well, because it was like, come on, if you're 130, I don't know if you
got a full cap, because that takes a lot of effort as well. Full capping is like very difficult when the teams are like actually both quite good.
I was pretty convinced then.
But if GK make huge mistakes, then maybe Team Liquid actually make the full comeback. You only ever see comebacks of this kind of caliber actually happen in terms of the other team winning if the winning team makes giant mistakes and they majorly fuck up somehow, like they lose pivotal fights with Ajax and stuff like that. But no, Team Liquid, they did their best. They have made a valiant effort to try and make that comeback happen, but the gap is just too large at the end of the day. And people will get excited about some of these OT pushes, and the OT does help a lot to make the comeback potentially happen. The OT also works against you if you even just lose a single player. you can't get the respawn at all. Respawn takes too long and the distance is too long. So like you have to have this insane perfection in your playstyle, which just like is super unreliable. So yeah, good effort, but no, I didn't.
I think
didn't
it
see
might have
happening.
been this. It might. I think it was like Liquid probably win. Honestly, might win this. I think it was the fight before last fight. They like overcommitted. They had. I think it was like they maybe had to, they dropped like 2 ults and then they go into the next fight and like, okay, we have no ults left. You know, like the economy's over. Like there is just no way we can win this because
Usually
we
how it
had
works,
no
yeah.
ults left. Like it's just a situation with push. You know, like especially the OT with the huge deficits. It's just they did everything right. They did everything right, and still in the end. Unfortunately, they just did not have the ult economy to make it work because, like, you commit some ults and then it's like, well, I got nothing left, boss. Got nothing left because this team's had like 8 fucking fights to just stop us. So it's a very hard situation overall for them. But I mean, I think this was holistically because it's funny too because the life in upper bracket final when Liquid banned Lifeweaver, they won and they lost on I think it was like Circuit when they did another Lifeweaver ban.
Yeah.
So like even though that ban was really dumb, like giving up that ban was kind of silly from GK in the upper bracket final. It seems like it works out just fine still here in the grand finals. Even though they didn't necessarily like give it up, they just Liquid had first ban, but they can still function without the Lifeweaver just fine. It's just their Lifeweaver's good.
GK's bans were so good, man. That May ban on map 3 was just
that was
chef's
really
kiss.
good. That was a really good May ban. Yeah.
To give up your Lifeweaver, but to ban the May, absolute perfection. I love that out of GK because GK could have said, no, we're going to enable Lifeweaver. We're going to protect it. We're going to ban its support. Absolute protect the Lifeweaver. But they said, you know what? Fuck that. Ban the May. We lost that in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Knife is really good on the May. If we get rid of the May, we're going to force essentially Knife to like play into our game. He's going to stay on like, he's going to have to play Symmetra. Maybe he'll play the Venture. Maybe he'll just play like Genji or something. But we can handle that. We're okay with that. And then they banned the May and we play this like Symmetra matchup. And if I remember correctly as well, they did like a 4-minute spawn camp at the start of the C spawn point. It was like, holy shit. That literally won
It's also
that spawn
it's
camp.
also pretty interesting that Liquid Knife has transitioned into a silly player.
Yeah,
Liquid
has, yeah, which is crazy.
Like Knife has gone from like holy fuck, Knife is like this guy's the GOAT. Like everyone's like on the Knife train, and then they pick up Zero, and now Knife is like, yeah, I'm Mangachu.
Yeah.
You guys know about that? Like I'm Mangachu too.
Bro started as a Swiss Army knife. Now he's one of those putty knives that you just kind of use it on the Play-Doh. Little children's knife. They're very unfortunate.
I mean, he's good at it. He's really good at it. Like he's a great player. Like his May is obviously like really good. Like his silly heroes seem very, very good. Yeah. But
it won him that map in the upper bracket finals. Like him triple killing when the fight is like 100% lost at 0.2, like just before 0.2. It's fucking stupid. He's a beast. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, realistically, yeah, like not giving bans over is kind of good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty decent.
It was actually TL's. It was TL's ban first. Actually, never mind. It was their ban anyway. So
yeah, it was their ban anyway. Yeah, they banned Lifeweaver first because they had lost.
Yeah, because they chose the map too. Because there's
that's
which
right.
that by the way, that was that the King's Row? Am I misremembering? On that King's Row, did we see didn't both these teams play Hanzo?
Yeah,
on that King's Row. Which, I mean, obviously is like relatively meta, but I find it very interesting because I don't think Hanzo was necessarily bad, but it felt like what killed Liquid, in my opinion, was that they were so attached to the Hanzo.
Oh, they
especially getting into like the last point and things like that. Like I was just like, it felt like this was a situation where it was very easily avoidable. And the thing that's so crazy is that this has been happening in Overwatch since 2016. Since probably 2015. Since like the game was in beta, like teams still. It's just back to the point of like, you know, sometimes when you talk about 90%, probably maybe if we're being more generous, like 80+%, but I would say closer to 90% of all professional esports and probably professional sports to a degree, but I'm not a professional sports player or coach, so I can't comment as much. It's all just like basic fundamental things that people that have been doing it for years just fuck up. You know, like it's like they knew better. All those, the players on Liquid should have, like, they definitely know better than to stay that long in the Hanzo for King's Row for Liquid. and they just committed to it, and they were just like, this is gonna work. Like, we have like, guys, I'm climbing up on the high ground. Like, this is good, right? Like, I'm Hanzo. Like, I'm like, no, like, we need like some shit to like pressure the front line a bit more. Like, we need more consistent damage, bro. Get off the fucking yeoman. Like, we need some help, man. And it's just one of those, you just get stuck in the rut. And I think that killed the Liquid. They killed Liquid for Kings Row, and they get the circuit row. Then the bans go really, really low for GK. They pretty much neuter knife, and it's a great situation. And then from that point forward, like, I think from there, in my mind's eye, after those 2 losses, even though Liquid won Saravasa New Junk City, I was like, ooh, like, it feels really heavily favored for GK here, just because it seems like as of right now, Liquid are making a lot of mistakes. Like, they're making mistakes and they're losing in like those very crucial, like, small things, like the bans, like staying too long on the heroes. And I think that was kind of the repeat of really when you get to Oasis. Now, granted, I guess both teams played fucking Sims, so you could argue that was a mistake, but you get to Oasis and they just get styled upon the whole time by like Kuffa and Lethal. And even Maimon. I mean, Maimon had a pretty good series too. Like, he was also like pounding. So yeah. But it felt like it was just kind of leading up to like, okay, they're going to trade back and forth until eventually one of these guys is just going to break and have a bad map, and it was Oasis. Oasis was kind of just like a breakpoint map where they were just like, well, we don't have any more gas in the tank, and like everything that could go wrong went wrong.
What was really funny about I believe it was Saravasa, there were 2 beat Ajaxes, and then
Yeah.
Maimon also hit an EMP Jax too, which was because we initially we were like, we saw one and we were like, holy fuck, wait, we were like, wait, what the fuck, wait, beat didn't go off, and then like, what was it, like a minute later, it was like another fucking sound barrier got Ajaxed. Are you fucking serious? And then Maimon EMPs in front of people, like 4 people, and they just all look at him and shoot him, and he dies. It's like, brother.
I think it was the ball. I think Infected just killed him.
It was the ball.
Yeah.
He slammed,
Yeah.
and he got, although because you're in the air as Sombra, it's still gonna go off, but like, you got slammed, you just got shot in the fucking head. You get shot, you die. Like,
I think it
yeah,
shows that if there's a map that Liquid also, like, if there's a scary map for Liquid that you really don't want to see them on, you still don't really want to see them on Saravasa. Saravasa is a very good Liquid map because they have Infected's ball in the back pocket. And what?
Us.
They played ball. Saravasa.
No, I'm looking to see if Liquid played Saravasa. I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know their total
Just
map.
spread
I'd have to go
opinion.
check their total map stats, but they're as a team in their composition, when you have a really good ball in the back pocket, you really don't want to have to go to Saravasa, because that happened in
Yeah.
Korea too.
Such a good ball map.
Like, it's just like, if you have a really good ball, you really don't want to have to end up on Saravasa. And
Yeah,
that's like
for sure.
a problem for teams. But at the end of the day, it just didn't matter because they lost so many times early in the series with like the Runasapi, like AVRL theorem, and like this King's Row issue with especially staying on the Hunters long in Circuit Real, that like pretty much it's just like, okay, you can, it was a better performance than what happened to EMEA, but like you just need one map at that point. It's just a single map and it's over. And Oasis was the breaking point where it's like, yeah, we just have the momentum. And Lethal, when Lethal's like unchecked, his cast is so fucking nasty. His cast is like so his cast and his Sojourn both are like so fucking nasty when he's just like completely unchecked. So
Oasis
but
is a
also Oasis
good cast map.
Oasis was I think that was the choke of the century, if I remember properly, because Oasis was, Liquid had essentially won the fight, right? They win the fight, and it's just like Infected or something alive. No, not Infected. It's just Kuffa. Kuffa's alive on point, like 20 HP, and they couldn't finish him off. Is that the right map I'm thinking of?
Oh, in City Center?
On City Center?
No, University.
I think no, University.
Zero,
University.
Zero
Not City Center. It was
killed, like,
University.
the whole
Oh,
team.
Yeah,
You mean
Zero
the
kills
Kuffa's
3
very
people.
end?
It was
Yes,
the yes,
the
and
very
then
end,
and
yes.
then Tree slides into the back line instead of just helping them finish off fucking Kuffa, and he dies. And then it's like, oh my, and
Play
they
the clip.
don't kill
Jamie, pull the
Kuffa.
clip.
The clip is actually a generational beef. I legit, like, Liquid could have won this series there too, but I think EK still would have won, but like, because that, I think that would have just been a round win for them. But like, they this engage happened, like Liquid, okay, they lose one, fine, things happen, such as life. But then like Zero goes fucking crazy. He kills like 2 post fight, I believe. Wait, this is 99. This isn't the one. Is this the one? Might be.
Yeah,
Do they win
yes,
the fight
it
for
is.
this?
Zero's
Okay.
alive, yes. They killed
Yeah.
Arissa, right?
Oh yeah, because they do a Terra Surge play, and then they're gonna kill. Yeah, they're gonna kill him with the pulse.
And then Zero...
And then he kills 1, he kills 2.
Just fucking
But look at this,
them, bro.
God, this fucking clip drew me insane when this happened. Because look at Kuffa's health. Look at Kuffa's health during this.
He's 1 HP, yeah.
Like, okay, Maimon,
totally.
he's getting dicked, he's getting chased down, he's gonna die, Zero's gonna finish him off. And it's like, okay, Zero's still pounding, like a good play off the Terror Surge. Now it's only Kuffa. It's only Kuffa. Only this fucking guy. They take them back. They're like, okay, life is chill, life is great. We have so much space. Zero's still pounding. Tree's alive. We have more point control. All we have to do here is post. Okay, first of all, we're watching like 3 fucking fights, by the way. Like, this is not the very fight. We have to wait. We have to go through a while. But the point is, Zero just hard carries them until eventually, yeah, because this slam happens, or not this. Is it the slam or the Lucio Boop? Either way, they kill everyone here. They kill fucking everyone here with like Zero. And then, okay, miss pulse. Fine, that happens. Happens to the best of us. All I do, kill Cuppa. Look at Cuppa's health. Look at Cuppa's health. Look at his health.
1 HP,
and then Tree
1 HP.
feeds. And then Tree feeds with the worst slide of all time. And Cuppa doesn't die.
Show the slide again. Show the slide again.
Oh my god.
Rewind that slide.
It
Like
was just-
actual
it was
disaster
one
class.
Big fight. Yeah.
Literally such a disaster class play there because all they had to deal with, and I understand what Tree's reasoning was too, is like, well, if I gotta kill supports, but like, bro, Cuffa is so low. He's so low. And I don't know if he had, I think his block was still just like, he was like alternating blocks, so he was getting a lot of things, but like, fuck, dude, the tree death, just disastrous there in that moment. Just so, like, look at it, fuck.
It is
like, what
so
the fuck?
low, man.
God
No support,
damn
so
it, man.
low.
Why the hell was he doing? Where was bro going? Where
I mean,
was
if
he
Zero
going?
hits that pulse as well, because he hits shield, right?
Yeah, if he hits pulse also, sure, but like, you know, I'm just like, God, what a terrible,
Yeah.
unfortunate situation for Liquid to lose, like, because of that play there.
Dude.
Also
Zero,
followed up with the
everybody
funniest
was-
shit talking of all time, because they said, like, you can't buy wins, but I'm like, but they're literally on the Saudi oil money team.
Oh,
So
okay, no, I'll
I'm
defend that. I'm gonna defend that. Well, I don't know if we're ready to get to there. First of all, I just want to say that was funny watching you like recap the fight. It was like, no, wait, it wasn't this fight. No, I think it was the next. It's like
well, because it's so long.
Really
It's
funny.
Same
so,
Yeah, I
fucking
know.
fight.
That
yeah.
it's
was
so
funny, though.
fucking
It's just like-
long. I couldn't remember, but yeah, like, it pretty much all that mattered was
Oh
the tree
yeah, and then
portion.
Zero kills one.
The tree portion is the only thing that matters. That's all I really wanted to see, but we watched like the 2.5 minutes of the fucking fight.
Because it was a long ass fight. Yeah, they were doing a lot. I don't know
Yes.
if Liquid were gonna really. We could have gone to round 3. What was next? It was Garden, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what
Garden.
would have happened. It's too hard
I
to
would
call.
have probably favored GK still. It's just more so that's a really tough way to win the series because they had that fight won. Like the fight should have been sewn up and they lost.
It's just a Ram moment. It's just a Ramatra moment
Yeah.
where
I mean,
Bro
Steve,
puts his
people
arms
are
up.
still pissed about
You
the
can't
damage
kill him.
reduction on Ram. And it's like, fair
can't
enough.
kill
I
him.
mean, it is an insane amount of damage reduction. Dude's got armor plus the fucking hold and the right click. Like, come on, man. I
They
wonder if
both,
they're ever
like-
going to nerf that.
They like damage reduce each other, right? Like you deal less damage to the armor
It's stupid.
because of the right click.
There is
and
some
the
dumb
armor-
because I
yeah,
think I
like-
once saw like 80% or something of your damage is mitigated when you're shooting him 80 plus or something when he's got armor plus folding arms and like all the shit. Like I'm not
They stack on
entirely
top
sure
of
on
each
the
other.
numbers. Yeah, because it's like it's
Something
stupid.
like that.
Ram is kind of dumb, but yeah, if Zero lands pulse there or they get the kill on the Ram, like it's probably a 1 fight. Maybe they go to round 3. One question I did want
So-
to ask. Go on, Avril, you go first though.
You ask your question because I'm about to change topics. If you don't ask your question,
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, do you think the NA gap between North America and like EU, how close is it between the two? Do you think DK are taking a map 7 versus an Alcad, like a TU? Like, how
it
do you?
depends on how
expect the regions to
insane
be?
the Symmetra meta is. Like, is Symmetra like the actual meta or not? Because if it is, EMEA is cleaning up NA, no question. Because NA can't play the Symmetra look, not even close to EMEA.
Right.
So if the Symmetra meta is the real meta, then NA loses. But I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure. Because Korea played some Symmetra, but they played it a lot less than EMEA. EMEA just played like
They love
6
Sim.
maps of only Sim, except when Sim
Yeah.
was banned. Right, so
I think not
Loves.
being as big on the sim is going to be potentially North America's downfall if sim remains very meta because it's so good. Sim is like Wall as an ult is fucking amazing. It just like auto wins you fights because you split like heals, you split damage, it splits a point. Being able to TP and just vaporize someone, like if you hit like a really good TP play and just insta vaporize someone with the Orbi as you come on out, and
Yeah.
you can just like also run away from fucking ults because you have the fucking Doctor Strange portals. Like it's the overall, like I do think like sim to me is like that's like the barrier, you know. We got to get, it's like how like there's the barrier where we think like, do you make it to an intergalactic civilization? I forgot the name of it. It's like a Fermi it's not Fermi, but I
Fermi
can't maybe
No,
it's
it's
Paradox?
Fermi Paradox, yeah. Type
Yeah,
1 civilization, type 0
that's the
civilization.
barrier. If you're gonna beat fucking Korea and like I think EMEA even
You need
on
to be a
land,
type
you
1
need-
civilization.
You need to be able to play sim. You need intermap travel, not intergalactic travel. You need intermap travel. You need to be able to use the
Which is
Symmetra
type
portals.
2, I think. Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, I just think it could lose. They could lose. I think especially if teams really lean into Venture. Maybe if Venture continues to get, like, if they really work on that, because I think Venture is pretty strong to like sim comps.
Yeah.
But I think Symmetra is like the meta crux heading into the mid-season event potentially. I think that might be the defining hero.
Didn't get changed either in the patch. AVRL, what was the topic you wanted to bring up?
I was going to say, like, I think there's a
what are you gonna
huge
say?
difference between old Nightmare being picked up by GK as an organization versus Zero literally being bought out by Liquid and sniped and poached from the team. Right, that's the reference. All the GK players are probably, like, in some ways rightfully a little pissed and a little salty about the fact that Zero got poached by Liquid, because, like, they would have preferred playing with Zero. Not that, you know, my moan's good, but Zero is, like, fucking insane. Like, you saw in that series. So if GK held on to Zero, they would have the NA super team that would allow them to, like, you know, beat Crazy Raccoon again or something insane like that. So rightfully, they're still a little pissed about
flexibility is kind of crazy, though, is what I would say. The counterpoint to that is way more flexible than Zero. Zero is, like, insane. Tracer? Like,
Do you think my moan's more flexible than Zero? I mean, like, what does
on the
Zero we've seen him play?
Venture, like, 100%.
I guess that's fair. I mean, I think part of it is also they're kind of doing this split. I think if there's a situation where Liquid doesn't have Knife, maybe Zero flexes more. Yeah. And, like, we learn to see Zero flex. But because they have Knife, they're like, well, we got Mangachu at home. And, like, we're going to, like, have him, like, we're going to have him do that. So I think there's a situation where maybe Zero has to flex more. But, like, you've got a good point. As of right now, my moan looks like
definitely more flexible. And to be honest, going into the mid-season, like, if it is sim meta, I think you probably take Knife, though, on the sim over my moan. It's difficult, actually. I don't know. I don't think I can't remember the last time I saw fucking Knife or my moan play sim. For extended periods of times.
Didn't they play it during? Am I going crazy? Did they not play during the series at all?
No, but like as a meta.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's like
yeah,
sure.
Time to bring up the tweets where the post-match tweet watch. Here we go.
No, okay. I didn't even want to listen. I didn't even want to get into the tweets. I just wanted to make a joke because it's all so soy. It's so soy. So I didn't soy. It's too soy. Like, I can't have the shit. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't have it in me, boss. Because it's not even about the soyness of it all. It's because the shit talking discussion in Overwatch has been done 20 fucking times, and every time I'm like, what are we arguing about? Like, I can't do it anymore, bro. I can't.
They're just jokes. They're just memes.
Okay. Yeah.
Look at my tweets. Go to my
GG's. This is for the audio listeners. This is lethal tweeting. If you can scroll.
He's self-promoting.
GG's 4-3 Team Liquid, 2 board to make it 4-1. The rest of us are not for sale, at least in this region. See you guys on the stage. And then AVRL at Moon and says lethal is not for sale. You will not be breaking up my goated NA champs, bro. I'm like, and then Moon replies in congratulations MVP with laughing face emojis, and Lethal just says thank you in Korean, and then Moon says Korean gosu to Lethal.
That's a very good pro instigation tweet, though.
So the reason this is funny for those that don't know is because after, I think this was either during Soup Cup or was after they beat Crazy Raccoon in Hangzhou. Lethal goes and is like, when Lip retires next year, please pick me up for Crazy Raccoon or some shit like that. I don't know if he said it jokingly to Moon.
Yeah.
It was either a joke or he might have been half serious. I don't know. And so then Moon was like, I think he might have entertained it or just like, I can't remember what Moon's response was. Anyway, just a funny interaction. But then I see the Lethal tweet and he goes, the rest of us are not for sale. And I'm like, dude, didn't you like literally put yourself in front of Moon like a few months ago? Be like,
he was fucking joking,
me up. I want to be Crazy Raccoon. Like, what do you mean? You're trying to sell yourself to Crazy Raccoon.
Man.
What are you talking about, dude? What do you mean the rest of us are not for sale? You're literally trying to sell yourself to Crazy Raccoon like two months ago.
Which actually wraps back into our members question, which is kind of fun. There is a tweet that I wanted you to bring up, Solomon. This is the last thing before we get to. I want to do. By the way, I want to do Aldul and OWCS Duel because we haven't done them in forever. Because Johnny is boring.
Okay.
Yep, you heard it here first.
That's fair.
But this is
I agree with that.
This is my dude. He's on his second holiday in the last like
read
month.
it out. Read it out.
Come on,
Read out the whole thing.
I gotta fucking rib him a little bit. So yeah, my moan tweeted out. It was like a iPhone notepad tweet, but he's not paying for premium, bro. Come on now, don't pay for premium. But he basically says, been seeing way too many complaints about banter or completely normal levels of shit talk from my teammates / co-streamers. This is competitive esports. Emotions run high and everybody wants to win. Look at any other major esport. Rivalries, passion, and personalities make, in caps and bold, the scene. That's what builds the narratives that fans can get behind. Overwatch has become so sheltered that even a hint of personality gets shunned. Yes, there's a line, and I don't think any players enjoy criticism and hate, but it's a part of the job. If you're in any competitive scene with a fan base, feedback, good or bad, is inevitable. Truth is, this sort of stuff is healthy for the scene within reason. Also, none of you guys truly know what goes on behind the scenes, so keep that in mind. Cheers. And like Connor said, this gets brought up every single year about players trash talking smack, and people kind of flipping out about it. Yeah, can't do it anymore, boss. But I will say, Connor, he's not wrong. Like this shit gets brought up a lot, and holy fuck, please just don't be dickheads to the fucking players if they're just shit talking and having a little banter, because most of those motherfuckers are friends with everybody in the top teams.
I'm gonna make a radical point. I don't even care. I mean, well, I do care if you're mean to the players. People shouldn't be mean to the players. I just don't want to. There should be no more discourse. We shouldn't talk about. I don't want to hear any more discourse about shit talk. I'm gonna be honest. If your solution is like we're gonna go shit talk the players because they shit talked, honestly, I'm gonna be completely real with you. I would rather that than ever have to see another thread about shit talk. I would rather we go shit talk the players than ever have to listen about another like discourse about shit talk again, because the players will live. They will all live. Yeah. They'll make fun of the people in their discords, and they're all gonna laugh, and then they're gonna drop some racist meme in the Discord with each other, and they're gonna be like, yeah, there we go. Like they're all gonna have their fun. Everyone's gonna survive. Okay, I just can't. It's been nearly it's been, if you start 2015, if you count 2015, it's been a decade. It's been a decade of Overwatch if you count like beta tournaments and stuff.
That's fair.
Okay, it's been 10 years. We can't talk about shit talk anymore. I can't do it. I want it new. I need something new. I need something new, man. Yeah. We need something new has to happen. I can't hear it. I can't hear it anymore.
Okay,
we got guys on Twitter. We got guys on Twitter called "I Kill People 18," and we're talking about shit talk, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because yeah, it does happen a lot. But like, dude, shit talking, that shit's fun, bro. Like, come on. Like, I want people. If anybody watched Toronto Masters, although they weren't shit talking, standing up saying you're fucking shit, like that's kind of fun, bro. It's fun, narrative building, and it's it's competitive and it's a good time. So
Call of Duty lands, they have orgies, man. We don't have shit. Okay, we're talking about shit talking. Like, what are we doing?
Probably have
what are we doing here? Okay, not saying we should have orgies, but like I'm simply saying that like.
COD is building. We could
aspire to
have orgies. That's true. Also, as a very crazy sidebar, because you mentioned COD, do not play World War II COD on Game Pass. Do not play World War II on Game Pass. It has because you mentioned COD, because it has a fucking RCE, a remote code execution vulnerability in the game, and your PC can just be they could explode your PC. It's the most insane like RC I've ever fucking seen, bro.
I thought you were going to talk about like CDL land being in Kitchener or something.
Nah.
Yeah, that was a whole drama.
It was just it was just something that I saw this week. People like
if you play Modern Warfare, if you play COD, World War II COD, like, then someone could like remote hack your PC via an injectable and just explode your PC.
Yes, like there's a thing right now you can load into a server and people just open Notepad, open Control Panel, which is like a CMD, which is like really bad. Like you can do a whole bunch more shit with RCEs. Basically, the RCE is the worst possible thing to ever fucking happen to your PC.
Why is it in the game then? Why are they putting the game?
Good question, because they don't fucking update the game because every year they come up with a new COD. Anyway, moving on to ODOBCS and Owldle. So I thought we'd do this because I really enjoy these. I think they're really fun. So yeah, Owldle.
Always start with Carpe.
Okay, Carpe's a good choice, honestly.
Always start with. Wait, what season is this?
Okay, Carpe's not on there. Fuck,
okay, I was gonna say I can't remember what season this is.
What season
is this? The last season? This is season. This is the 2023, right? There's no
Yeah,
carpet.
it must be. Start with Admiral. Yeah, you've got it already in the box. You've already got it in the box. Start with Admiral.
In there. So he's a
You
support
always
player.
start with the Korean. You always start with the
Eastern
Korean.
support player. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Korean player's a good shout.
Start
Eastern
with-
support
so-
player.
Go Zest.
Bliss?
Bliss?
Zest? I'm down with Zest.
Zest.
Because,
What's
like,
the
you wanna-
support? Zest was the
It's a
support.
support,
Am I going crazy?
support.
Fuck! It was a support.
What are you talking? What the
Damn
hell's wrong with you?
it! Damn it! I didn't realize. it was
Okay, well,
support.
no, they're not.
Wait,
Korean.
they're not Korean.
And they're not
Chinese?
on Infernal. So it has to be a. I go for evil. Go
Chinese
for
player.
Evital. Go for
Yveltal?
Evital. Yeah.
Xerneas.
What was he?
Xerneas.
Was Xerneas? Yeah,
For
Xerneas.
fuck's sake.
This fucking guy. Okay, so he's on charge and he's
support
Chinese.
Super rich.
Monk.
Oh, Monk.
Monk's a good one too. I think.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
wasn't
super.
that
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with Monk.
Yeah. Okay, Monk.
That was
Nice.
pretty reasonable.
That was
Bro,
a good one.
Avril inted our second one. He actually inted.
Oh,
it.
it's
Yeah, what the
fine.
hell?
We discovered it wasn't a Korean. That's fine.
Yeah.
It would have been the
So
same.
true,
It would have been the
so
same
true.
either way. Don't worry about
All
it.
right, bring up
Hmm.
OWCS duel when you can.
He's much better at peak
Solomon.
than he is the outlaw. I'm
Dude, the,
noticing. A lot better
the
at peak.
peak
can't get
stream
past that
went
forest level.
crazy.
Well, I think
Actually,
if
I
you
got
do it on,
lost.
if it needs, you have to have
got lost.
people to play it. You got to have people to play it.
I just
honestly.
didn't know what direction to go.
No.
Wait, OWCS Low's dead?
No, it's dead.
All right, do
Really?
Scrandle.
No.
Just Scrandle. No, I'm kidding.
Scrandle.
You probably aren't watching, but please keep Aldal alive. Please, bro. Same with Hoot.gg. Bring that shit back. Bring
That's
shit
crazy
back.
that OWCS Lol is dead or Dole. Like that one's
Yeah.
actually the currently ongoing competitive thing. I don't know
I
what's
think
happening.
Whoever's running it's like, these roster changes happened me too quickly for me to keep up. I can't be fucked. And they just
They said like
Just
it's
dipped.
over. And like they're like, it was a passion project. I'm taking my talents to where they know how to run esport Marvel Rivals. I'm going over there.
It's so true.
I'll put up
So
Marvel Rivals duel real
true.
quick.
No, absolutely fucking not. So Bren's player of the week. Anybody got any suggestions?
Friends Play of the Week should go to
How about the
Call of
crew
Duty
on Johnny's
Championship?
Super Yacht? That's my last one. That's my last jab. That's my
No.
last jab.
Okay.
That's the
Yep,
good one.
yep.
That's a good one.
Go on.
the crew who live in Johnny's mansion. all of his
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 living
living
nanny, his
maids.
living nanny and
It's
cleaners.
You know, his attendants.
We can't.
I got it. His pilot on his private jet.
No,
Good for
it's
that.
you.
Pilot on the private jet.
Private jet.
Pilot on the
Johnny's
private
pilot
jet.
on his private
That's
jet.
good.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one.
Mm.
That's how he travels.
I can't think of any science-related ones this week.
I'm gonna pick. I'll pick one that I think is funny, just because I think it's funny. I think Psycho
Okay.
should get Player of the Week. Actually, here's an actual good player, Kellex.
An actual player or the player of the
An
week?
actual
Actual
player.
player?
An
For the player of the
actual.
week.
Well, Psycho's a player. Psycho's a player. I thought at first
This is
Psycho
the
because he's
first-
funny because he's like
the
I'm unbeatable
first-
and then he lost. But
The first player of the week that's not a bit, we're gonna give to Kellex. Let's do it.
Not a
I mean,
bit.
it's still kind
Actual
of a bit
first
because
serious?
he's the best player. He's the best support player to ever come out of Europe. And so that's why we got to give it to him. So Kellex confirmed best main support player to ever come out of Europe, best Lucio player. And that's why I got benched in 2018 for Kellex, because he is Mr. Consistent himself. I am Mr. Less Consistent, which is why I would have had a thriving career if I just had been on any other team other than Kellex's. So honestly, fuck you, Kellex. You ruined my life.
debatable,
Player of the week.
but very
got Prince Player of the week.
debatable.
You ruined my life, Kellex. And so
Okay, you know
get
what?
Prince Player of
Fuck
the
it.
Week.
Bren's player of the week, Kellex. Unk still got it. Kind of a legend, honestly.
Unk's,
on the
I think he's
various
like
Twitter.
24, so I don't. I think he's literally.
Hey, if
he
you're
was like
over 20
18. Yeah, he was
Sure.
like 19 when Overwatch League started, like 18, 19. He was really young. I think he's like 24, 25.
26.
Yeah, so he's not real. He's
26.
not that old.
No,
He's a
but
little bit
in
older than I
Overwatch
thought, but
terms,
still, yeah.
maybe that's hitting
He's
on
ancient
status,
for
not
Overwatch
sure.
terms, but
Yeah,
other than
yeah.
that,
exactly.
But yeah, he was like
Exactly.
19 when Overwatch League started. So
Which is kind of
So,
wild,
like-
actually. But there you go.
Yeah.
A lot of first place finishes on the Liquipedia, Kellex. Let's fucking go. The Danes do it again. Small ass fucking country produces insane esports talent. Don't know how. Apply
also
Brig.
really good thread.
Ooh.
Really good thread here too of Unter talking about the Valiant drama. I did enjoy this one a lot, to be honest. Now that Unter's entered his content creator arc and he can join us here on the podcast circuit. I think it's gonna be
Hunter started COVID. I'm pretty sure Bren started COVID in the US.
brought it back from
99%
China?
sure.
it's possible that Bryn did do
99%
it.
Sure. What is this one? Lastro refused
You never seen
to
that
play.
before?
No, Lastro refused to play, forcing Rain to fill his Rain, bro. What a name! And apply to fill Reigns. This was all too stressful for Dreamer, who opted to have a mental breakdown in solidarity with Lashel, also refusing to play. He tweets like Donald Trump. Am I crazy?
Yes, but it is. But the thing is, it's very funny because it is the most.
I'm sorry.
Like, it's the most mixed roster experience possible, where essentially it happened all the time where like back in the day, there was a very big coalition of Western players like, I don't want to play with Korean players. And I think this also probably went both ways, where I bet a bunch of Korean players probably didn't want to play with Western players. Mostly because of I think it was mostly because they couldn't talk to each other, you know? There was a language barrier.
Right,
like,
yeah.
we couldn't, like, there wasn't a lack of mutual understanding. Everyone was also stupid and dumb and, like, 19 years old. But, like, it happened all the time where, like, Koreans were really famous, where when the pedal, like, for, like, mental booming in Western, in like mixed roster teams right before big events. Because like because it happened in Boston too when Striker was like smashing
Striker 7 times, like come on, man.
And like Kalios was banned from the practice facility for being like not listening to Huck essentially. Like so like
no play.
They it seemed like it happened at very inopportune times for, I think, from the Western player perspective. Obviously, I don't think it's fair to only player perspective, because probably the Korean players have their own perspective, which we couldn't hear as much because obviously we're more Western-centric podcast and we don't have the language barrier. But like, it's like, okay, grand finals is coming up, stage finals coming up, guys, let's go. And then you're my star Korean player. I'm thinking like I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling like playing. And so that happened like a lot, which by the way, I don't think is a fair like criticism of like they're just unreasonable people or like they're hard. It's more so we probably couldn't understand the perspective because there simply was, despite all the money in Overwatch League, there really was a lack of infrastructure at times to really integrate
especially
the
for the Korean players, because moving to a country, I'm sure some of you in the audience have been to Korea, maybe some of you haven't, but like it's just so different to like American living culture and everything that I remember some of the Dallas Fuel players like feeling a little bit like isolated, you know, because there are like pockets of Korean culture within Dallas, I'm sure, and like in LA. LA is good for it, I'd say.
But also,
like,
you have to be able to get to it. You have to get there. There's no
like
public
getting there is
transit.
tough. No like underground tube system, and it's like it's difficult for a lot of the Korean players. Like some of them, you know, adapted pretty well, I'm sure, but like some just didn't. So that probably
so that was a very
contributed.
And if you think going to America from Korea is hard, where you can, most of them go to LA and they just go, you know, you got the whole Korean diaspora there and all the Korean stuff that happens there. Imagine instead of going there, you're going to Saudi Arabia like we do have a lot of Korean players now. You have none of that. You don't have Korea. You don't have a Korean town. You don't have any Korean food. You don't have any Koreans there at all.
Crazy.
So that's way more difficult, which is why when you hear stories of like Simple just not giving a fuck at all, this is why Simple's the best. He's the GOAT, because he just doesn't care. He's just there to play Overwatch. He's going to wake up, play Overwatch, pray towards Mecca, go to sleep, wake up, play Overwatch again.
I don't know if he's praying towards Mecca, but I don't think he's making the Hajj. But I do think that like that is a really good point, especially because Korean culture, a lot of it, like they're fucking drinking and they're having pork, and like that shit is not happening.
There ain't no sun god celery, I'll tell you that.
That's not happening.
That is definitely a tough culture mix. That's a tough one. Oh,
yeah, quite
man.
different the cultures, funnily enough. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's the episode. We're done. Yippee!
Woo! Hey,
for those who said we couldn't do it, we did it. We put on an episode
and we got bits,
guidance.
and we still got bits.
We got bits.
We still
it's
got bits.
Bits on top of bits on top of bits.
Speaking of doing, I'm gonna end with this. I watched, what is this? Johnny here.
This is Johnny here. I'm leaving for vacation today for the next 10 days. So
I like how he said that we're not gonna do it.
There might be a surprise episode if the others pull one together without me, but no promises.
What the hell, man?
We did it. He's so doubtful.
They literally
pulled
had
it
no
together,
belief,
baby.
no belief in us at all whatsoever.
And that's why we are Bren's Player of the Week, as well as
I thought we just gave it to Kelly.
Anyway, I was gonna say, speaking of another thing we achieved, I watched some other streamers, some very famous, notable streamers, some big boy 5-figure streamer, concurrent viewer streamers play this video game we like to call Peak, and they fucking sucked. Just want to say that we beat that game in 2 tries. Two attempts. We beat that game.
Yeah.
Second
that is
attempt, we
impressive.
beat that ass.
Now I did have to like download all the knowledge into your brains like a mama bird feeding a baby bird. I had to like info dump into your ears, but still you guys got an advantage because I don't know if anyone else was telling each other with the big streamers what was happening. I just literally told you how the game works on your first 2 attempts. But it is true. Mechanically, we dominated comparatively. Now
Jamie,
we all were good there.
Jamie,
I was
bring
dead,
up the clip.
But I was dead in the first.
That is just bits.
There's only
on
one
top
clip.
Of fucking bits.
There's only one clip when
there's actually 2
finish.
clips, but This is
Oh,
this is my this is two good.
Is it the one where
this is one
is
of
it the one of
This is
Jaw
one
saying
out.
check it out? Oh yeah,
This one, my POV is so fucking funny with this. Also, you died with the egg. You
I
died
died with the egg and the statue. Yeah.
You want to explain what you did here? How did that happen?
I know. So essentially, I thought. So it's you never do it where you're doing the stamina management and you're like trying to like slowly slide down the wall by like letting go on and off. I was trying to do that and I just didn't hit the wall again. Trying to guess. So I think the better clip is when Jaw says, "Check this one out," and then he like.
Yeah.
Then he
Yeah, hold on.
he
I'll bring it up.
emotes,
I'll
plays
bring it
dead,
up.
and falls off the mountain. For yeah.
I got it. There you go.
That
Hold on.
one is so
Same frame.
good. That one is like an
Okay.
all.
The best thing is I
banger.
didn't see. I was dead, so I didn't even see this.
It's
I
good.
didn't
even
It's
see it
really.
from your
It's an
TV.
emote in the chat now. It's an emote in the chat now. It's called check
Yeah,
this one out, and it's
pretty good.
I will say we did really good for 2 tries. We did really good. For
Can the
sure.
audience hear this, Solomon? They can, right? Yeah, cool.
I'll give you credit though. We did do it. And then this is when Jaw
No, check
says,
this out.
"Check this one out."
Can Apple make it better?
This is you're like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, that was a
That's,
good. That was such a good clip, man.
That's good. That's real
Check
good.
this out.
That's it's so stupid.
Full sends off the cliff.
Such a good clip.
Oh, you know what? Next, you know what? We're gonna have to head back to Peak. We're gonna have to head back there. Huh?
Hey,
We're gonna have to
it's so
beat it again,
good.
maybe.
We
We'll have to go
will.
back.
We will.
We have some
All
more
right, but
co-op. You know what? We gotta do some more, but we gotta close it out. We probably gotta close.
We
out.
got to close out. We'll finish Split Fiction, and then we got hella co-op games to play. But yeah,
Yes,
there's
that's
lots
true.
of stuff to play co-op wise. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate everybody for. Wow, we just instantly went to black. Then
Holy
it was
shit,
just like,
that was
boom,
fast.
boom, get me out of here.
Are we off live?
But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be an episode next week because Johnny might not be back. So, Mr. G's.